All right. Hey again, adventurers, and welcome to the 100th exciting episode of Realms of the Wild. Yes.
Damn.
This is our this is a special episode of Realms of the Wild that we call our podcast episode. Effectively, we're going to be talking about realms. We're going to be talking about our characters. We're going to be talking about the show itself. And we're going to be answering questions from you all in chat. So, throughout the show, feel free to type in chat any questions you have for me about the show. I'll give a little bit of background in a little bit to talk a little bit more about where it came from in that. But any questions that you have just before the actual question, type in all caps question, and I will do my best to copy those so that we hopefully will be able to get to all of them.
If you do not follow instructions, your name will be written down and you'll be talked to later.
We'll fight you in a back alley.
Alex just took that in a totally different direction than I was, but yeah, sure, that too.
You will just get that disappointed Elias dad voice, even more so than his normal voice.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get
That's just how we talk.
the extra crispy morning.
That's why I said even more so.
Disappointed voice.
Yeah.
I'm just ready to throw hands.
So anyway,
happy 100th episode. I brought cupcakes.
Yay!
Oh my god.
Did you bring them, or did you just think, oh, I have cupcakes in the kitchen? That would be funny if I went and got them and brought them and showed them.
I went to the grocery store last night, so you could say that within the last 12 hours, I decided that we should have cupcakes.
Can you fax me one?
If I remember and no one eats it, I could bring it to my show tonight and just throw it at you.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, the show. I am the very model of a modern major. What the?
I'm real far back in the audience tonight, but I will do my best to catch it.
So
you will likely be able to move forward if you wish to, by the way.
Probably. Realistically, probably.
We've had mid-size audiences, so
That's
good social distancing.
That's what it looks like for when I looked at tickets on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So anyway, I will be asking those of you in chat to clip things. Please be clip happy with this particular episode. I'm even going to give a brief intro to what is Realms of the Wild, so that anyone that comes in or anytime you're trying to go, hey, you should watch Realms, you can go, oh, here's a clip explaining it in less than 30 seconds. So
I'm going to be timing you.
Sure. So anyway, before we get into the podcast, where I get to do my best NPR impression, where I just talk into the mic. So
oh god,
yes,
yeah,
good.
let's
Good.
let's talk about realms and what exactly that means.
With Jody Glass.
I'm not in a good sound place to deal with that right now.
Sound place?
Sensory issues are a real thing, Elias.
I understand. I've just never heard them referred to as sound places before.
Yes.
I was not prepared for Jody ASMR. I don't know if I like it or not.
Always prepared for that. Come on.
Do we
He's
have
got a
any
great podcast
announcements? I saw a thing go up on the ZU YouTube. There was a song from Wind Waker. Where?
No. What about you, media director?
Yeah. Did I imagine this?
Hold on, let me check.
You were asleep, but it is now a thing.
There was
We will find one for you.
There was. I know Troy was working on a bunch of stuff, and I believe
Alex just talking out of his butt whilst frantically searching his YouTube sub box.
I have something to say once the official announcement.
There was something that did go up, and I think just because we're celebrating the Wind Waker's anniversary, they have our team as you have made a bunch of, I guess, compilations of covers from the original soundtrack and new interpretations of stuff like that. So we'll probably get some more Wind Waker music coming up on the channel pretty soon, if anything.
Yeah.
And it's
Also,
from our second quest dub as well, so we might be getting some just music tracks going up.
Also, Hades' Misguidance had another episode show up last week, so that's cool as well. Any other announcer moments?
Aaliyah's got one.
Yes.
Speaking of Hades, my game Persephone is up for an education game award called a G Award, but there's also a People's Choice Award. You can vote for it. Vote for my game so we don't have 0 votes for the People's Choice Award. Again, the game is called Persephone. We're a finalist in the amateur category.
Very cool.
Where do I do it?
You go to the link that I put in the chat, and if you're not on phone, it should be up in the upper right of the menu options in the title card area. If you are on phone, you can find it by going to the little 3-dot menu. But I gave you the page that has all of the games on it, and you can watch our trailers as well.
I didn't know that you made this game.
I just voted and closed the tab.
Thank you, Elias. We're the first one listed as the finalists for the amateur category. I think because of my name, maybe. I don't know what order they chose here. And I made the trailer.
Yay!
So also watch the trailer.
Very cool.
I am voting now.
Yay! Also, come see my show. I'm in Pirates of Penzance. I'm understudying Ruth, and I'm understudying parts in Into the Woods, and I'm assistant hair and makeup designer for both shows, and now helping with costume changes. We close next weekend.
I'm seeing it tonight.
Both good shows.
Finally, Zolta and Pierre will hang out again.
Yay!
Both very different experiences as far as musical theater goes.
Use the form of your chaotic.
Right, Pirates is Pirates over 100 years old?
Yeah, I think it is.
If not over 100 years old, at least like
I do believe it is.
I met a pirate who was 95 years old once, but never 100.
1879. No,
Yep.
yeah, it's over 100 years old.
Yeah. My favorite plot point is that the main character, Frederick, was born on leap year, and he's indentured to the pirates until his 21st birthday, not his 21st year. So he's like, so I'm going to be a pirate until 1940.
Nice.
Yay.
So,
I know nothing about that show, too. So
There is one more announcement.
okay.
In 2 weeks, right here on this channel, Z-Youthon Zelda for Eternity will take place.
Oh, shit.
It will begin August 11th and run through the 15th. I come at you with exclusive news that later today, an official schedule, as well as the beginning of our guest announcements, will be posted on social media. And as a sneak preview to that, I can also confirm that there is once again an incentive, if a certain amount is met, to have a Realms of the Wild game near the end of the Youthon. The scheduling is a little weird, but if you all donate enough, most of the cast should be here Monday, August 15th at the same time, 9 a.m. Pacific. noon Eastern.
I have a question.
Yes.
Possible answer.
Ilea there in the back.
Yes. Do we also know about any other incentives? For instance, is Alex going to be wearing more makeup? Is
I'm
Elias
not
going to
doing
be
it as an incentive.
cosplaying?
I'm not
You're-
doing that as an incentive anymore. I'm just my fit for my block has been decided, and it will be glam.
Beautiful. Is
What?
Elias cosplaying as anyone else again?
For that particular incentive, you're just gonna have to tune in and find out.
Yeah.
Okay. Mystery.
Yeah, I'm not letting anyone. I'm just doing it for myself at that point.
Joy.
I will,
I am going Wind Waker chic for my block, so y'all tune in Sunday evening.
If you would like
I,
cosmetic grade glitter, hit me up.
Actually, girl, what you doing on the 14th?
Let us talk.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah.
very cool.
So look forward to that.
Due to the fact that the schedule is coming out theoretically later today, I think
It might even come out during the show.
I think I'm allowed to say I am actually a participant
Yes,
this year.
Joey's doing a thing this time, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm doing a Link to the Past randomizer. I haven't 100% decided on which flavor I'm doing, but due to the length of my little thing, I'm gonna have a couple seeds.
What's your
prepared.
favorite flavor of A Link to the Past?
Start with vanilla and then just add toppings.
I personally have really started enjoying inverted Master Sword pedestal runs.
Oh my god.
What
I
does that
love
mean?
inverted.
Crushed
Inverted
pistachios.
means you start in the dark world, and the mirror, instead of taking you from the dark world to the light
The
world,
light world, it
goes
takes
from
you from the
light
dark world to the light world.
dark world. So a lot of the puzzles are flipped. as
Yeah,
far
they had to
as how
change
it
the
works.
map to make that work.
It is super fun.
I like
So,
bursting mango checks.
So yeah, I haven't 100%. I know I'm probably thinking I'll do a regular Master Sword run, and then if I have extra time, I'll have it inverted on standby, or the opposite, just because starting in the dark world is rough. So
I still have to figure out a list of incentive songs because I'm doing Wind Waker rando, so I kind of need sea shanties. That's not like the Wellerman, and maybe something else.
Leverage on me leader.
I'll take any suggestions. Me and
Let us be clear, go to Irish drinking songs.
Yes.
Also,
I mean,
Brandy, you're a fine girl.
I mean, I
Or-
will look at everything because I am hopefully going to have the lovely Ben Vicini with me, doing music and stuff like that. First, I have to actually I got to confirm with him to see if he's still doing that because I need musical people for that shit. So
I don't think
Also
you
my-
know any musical people at all.
None.
Yeah.
none or none
Nice.
that are in
Not
my
a
area
single
except
person.
Ilea.
Elias, you
Fair.
sing, don't you?
Yeah, I've heard he's been in several musicals, and he knows how to tap dance.
Is gonna be in a gypsy soon.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Some of the things you all have said were true.
Tap
And
dancing.
some of them were about me.
So anyway, definitely tune in. It should be really, really
Did you have a dream?
fun. We're gonna try and shatter previous records, I believe we tend to do almost every year, right?
Most years.
Well,
I don't know if most years I would say we shatter, but
Well,
Hey.
last
You
year
break.
we hit pretty hard.
So anyway, definitely to tune in to the
Jody didn't think we'd have time to shoehorn in theater today.
Oh, you got a bunch of theater nerds here.
when
I'll
when
say
when you
so.
say you're going to do a podcast of Realms of the Wild, it's going to be like half of that.
No, I'm ready for it. Also, I just started rehearsals for Gypsy, and I got my actual role breakdown. I have the first lines in the entire show.
Yay!
That's always a fun one.
I didn't think I had Uncle Jocko on my plate, but I do, and I looked at it and I went, ah, crap.
Does
You're
that mean
featured!
One, I have the first lines in the show. Two, I have to attempt a Scottish Irish accent, which I could have used.
Those are very different
I was
accents.
supposed to say, they're not even on the same island.
They're
well,
not. That's the thing.
based on
And
him
the fun
saying
part-
that, when and where is this show again?
and the real fun part is that like I could have used D&D to practice both of them, and then what do I use dialect wise the most in my D&D? New Jersey.
That tracks.
I mean, yes, that,
Oh,
As
that
if
God.
makes sense
anyone
for
is,
you.
as was anyone was surprised.
I'm going to Scotland in September.
Oh right, are you going with like Omar?
Yeah, as far as I know, he's going, and we're sitting next to each other at the wedding.
Oh shit.
So that is what I know as of this current moment.
It's-
And that I am backup tech for the zooming of the
It's-
wedding.
It's Omar. Like, he has magical doorways throughout the world where he just appears places. So
I would like that. That would have cost a lot less money.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing 4 shows on the West End during that trip.
that would be
Nice. What
really
you
cool.
seeing?
Matilda, The Play That Goes Wrong, Six, and Moulin Rouge.
Oh, all
I
good.
love the
and
play
then
that goes
Matilda.
wrong.
Matilda makes me happy, and I want to see it in person.
I didn't realize
saw
Tim,
Play That Goes
um,
Wrong on Broadway right before it opened, and it was absolutely incredible.
I love The Play That Goes Wrong, like the people who created it and everything. So I went, of course, I'm going to go see that.
Hillburn, but the theater that you saw, I Love You, You're Perfect, and would do really would be
a
great
little
for that
bit
show.
naughty.
Yeah, that would work really well.
Anyway,
And Peter for a third time.
so lots of cool things going on. Remember, 2 weeks we have ZUthon. It's a great time. You get to see ZU people meet IRL some of the time. We even have people from as far off as Australia that are involved in ZU.
Okay.
So this is a worldwide event, or at least the U.S. and Australia. I don't think we have any.
We have Canadians.
Canadians.
We can argue that ZUthon spans the globe. That way we're not getting into like specific countries.
That is technically accurate.
If we end up doing the Realms of the Wild for ZUthon, I will totally cross the border, which is 15 minutes away from me, and go to Mexico. So you can say that.
Seems like a lot of
It's
work.
so weird. It's so weird.
Stick
I've
my
never
arm
been.
across.
It'll be fine.
When you
Exactly.
approach San
Exactly.
Diego and it's like 18 miles to Mexico.
And then it's like, no guns in Mexico. And then it's like, one exit to Mexico. Are you sure you want to go to Mexico? Last exit.
yeah, you have no choice, which is
Yeah.
probably really
You have
good
no
because
choice.
I accidentally once distracted a driver so much that they took us into Illinois from Wisconsin. And we both realized as we were passing the border. You know,
The
Nice.
fun part of going from Wisconsin to Illinois is Wisconsin doesn't have tollways, and Illinois has a lot of them.
Yeah, we had to split the toll bill that came later in the mail because we couldn't turn around before the tolls. Yeah.
Toll roads are a weird
Happy
hill that
100th
I die on.
episode to the cupcake.
So, that being said, I think it's time to delve into the realms of
What?
the wild.
What?
Are you starting a music?
Not-
Is there
I'm
music
not
playing at the
transitioning.
time?
I'm not. There's transition happening. What are you doing?
I just
You know
did
what?
the transition.
To talk about
I didn't even set up the game view this morning.
Jody is trying to
Guys,
get
there's
us to like
problems.
not be the chaotic herd of cats that we are.
That's
So-
not happening.
That's cute.
Get your clipping abilities ready.
Because we're about to get even
Oh, hang
more
on.
than we already are.
I've got my timer.
My clips are ready.
Oh yeah. All right. Elevator pitch, Jody. Are you ready?
You ready?
Three.
Can I do this now?
2,
Do not count me down.
Equal tone.
1 million.
So, what is Realms of the Wild? Realms of the Wild is a tabletop RPG set in our own version of the Breath of the Wild flavor of Hyrule. We use a system called Open Legends. It is a free RPG system, and we have had a lot of fun playing it. Every single person plays their own unique character. We do not have someone playing Link. We do not have someone playing Zelda or Ganon or anything. And all the stories are built around the idea of the characters and dealing with this strange thing that's happened, which is Hyrule has been split into 3 different realms. Each one is a little different than what we're used to. The Courage realm is the one that seems the most familiar. That's the one where the hero of legend gets the Triforce of Courage and has a sword and a shield and goes through and fights Ganon, who gets the Triforce of Power and is helped by Zelda, who gets the Triforce of Wisdom. But each other realm, things shift. In the Power realm, Link got the Triforce of Power because that's what he embodied the most. And he was actually a magic user that was very skilled in the arcane arts. Whereas in the Wisdom realm, Link got the Triforce of Wisdom and was actually very scientific and would build gadgets and things like that. And the worlds around the worlds that exist in those realms also changed a little bit. In the Wisdom realm, technology was considered the most important thing, and so everything was built around technology. The Rito became technologically superior to the rest of the races in Hyrule, and they became the rulers of Hyrule instead of the Hylians. In the Power realm, magic was really important, and the Zora actually became the overall ruling race of Hyrule, and they actually used their magic powers to flood parts of it so that they could expand their empire outside of just Zora's domain. So that's the world that we play in, and if you'd like to see the stories that we tell there, come on by.
Okay, now do it all again. I was sneezing the entire time.
I don't think I got under 30 seconds, but I think I was close to a minute, which is what you're
You were about 2.5.
2.5.
2.5.
2.5 ain't a bad elevator pitch.
It's okay. It's a long elevator. It's a long elevator.
I got
It's an interesting.
I got a series of 3 clips, maybe that'll work.
You got into the elevator, Jody, and you hit all the buttons.
Does it? Can you not clip longer than a minute?
Nope.
No.
Oh, I may try that towards the end to get something under a minute.
Rapid
Yeah.
fire. The exact
Anyway,
same thing, just rapid fire.
I will say, I think one of the toughest things as someone who is very used to a specific edition of an RPG, mainly 5th edition D&D, that Open Legends was one of the toughest things to try to wrap my head around for a while. Because
We had to learn how to be friends and work together as a team.
And also, this was one of my very first, like, true being a RPG player kind of deal. Like, I had always loved kind of like the D&D kind of stuff, but it wasn't until, like, this show and being more immersed in, like, actual play D&D stuff like Dimension 20 and Critical Role, where I was like, oh, this is how you actually be a player in these kind of games. Got it. Understood. Which I think helped my perspective a lot. I still roll terribly in general. That hasn't changed.
I'm a murder hobo.
Speaking of D&D 5e, let's go all the way back to, I think it was March or April of 2017.
Yep.
Elias, if you can remember this far back.
I have perfect memory.
I actually remember this too.
Elias and I have known each other, I think, for close to a decade now. And he reached out to me asking if I could run a D&D game set in the Breath of the Wild universe. So I'd actually like to start with a question for Elias, which is, before I got involved, where did Realms of the Wild really originate? Like where did even the idea, the pitch, and everything could come from?
In an old sewer in the depths of Mordor.
Yes, where I get all my ideas.
We, in early 2017, had ideas to sort of refresh, relaunch our Twitch channel here at ZU. And we ended up starting broadcasting a bunch of stuff in June of 2017. But as we were starting to think of what we should put on the channel, in addition to sort of just the normal streams we do, or what ended up being the normal streams we do, at the time, tabletop RPG D&D Twitch shows were cool and hip and happening, but I didn't see a Zelda one anywhere, so I thought there would be a space for that on our channel. So on some meeting with Alex I had while talking about this channel, I was like, I don't know if you're familiar with like D&D or tabletop RPGs, but sometimes people do shows of them on Twitch. Maybe we could do is put together a Zelda one for the channel. And I
I
believe...
don't think I said yes quicker in my entire fucking life.
Well, not only did you say yes, you were... I believe your exact words were, I love it, I want to be a part of it. So that was the first time he forced himself to be part of the show. And
I will audition, but like I want in because I love... I got into like RPGs and D&D like with 5th edition coming out, and I love the storytelling. And at that point, Critical Role was like near the end of Vox Machina, but I hadn't seen a lot of Critical Role. But I knew it was popular, and I did love D&D. I loved Acquisitions Incorporated at the time, and so I was like, I want to do that. That sounds fun.
Yeah. So
yeah.
We were like, yeah, this is a great idea, but I had only been a player character in games, and Alex had the limited experience he just said. So we're like, we're going to need to find a DM. And the DM I had played with most at the time, who also had broadcast experience, was, I forget his name.
Sounds like an asshole.
Was he a trainer?
He was. So we ended up going through a lot of people, and then Jody was our 7th choice, and we finally went to Jody. No, he was our 1st choice. Alex had no idea who Jody was, and I was just like, "It's my friend Jody."
Most people
here's his
Dare
work.
you, Alex?
And he was like, "Yeah," and so that's when we started including Jody in the planning of the show.
Mm-hmm. So I get this email from Elias saying, "Hey, do you want to do a D&D thing?" And at that point, I'd been running D&D games online for a couple years, a few years actually at that point. Because I got my start running D&D at my friendly local game store, and as soon as I started doing that, my introduction to D&D was Acquisitions Incorporated and the Dragon Age episode of Tabletop. So those things like really influenced me. And the first game that I actually ever ran was a parody campaign in 4th edition D&D called D&D High, which was about this fictional Dungeons and Dragons high school in the multiverse, and the player characters were the uncool kids, and the enemies of this one-shot adventure were the cool kids. And yeah, you'd come in and you'd talk to a giant magical door, and then you'd draw from the deck of many things. And I had
you mean this deck of many things?
Yeah, for each different card, I believe there's 22 in a full deck of many things.
There are 22. I just had my players fuck around and find out, and then they pulled 10 of these fucking things, and most of them were good. Look at this. This thing animates.
So yeah, for each card, I had a different adventure that you could play that involved you going to different parts of the school and that. And then
so what happens when you drew Void?
I can't remember. I have the original adventure bound and laminated and signed by Chris Perkins and Scott Kurtz. And my goal was to get every original member of Acquisitions Incorporated to sign it. And I've never met Jerry or Mike. And the one time I met Will Wheaton, he wasn't doing autographs. He was at Gen Con to just have fun, and so he wouldn't sign anything. Elias approaches me, and I had been dipping my toe into a couple different RPGs, and Open Legend at the time was brand spanking new. Mercer and Ed Greenwood, if you don't know, is the creator of the Forgotten Realms, and is also a published author. His original character is a character named Elminster. And they had both been talking about this new system that they had consulted on called Open Legend, and it was 100% free. And so Elias.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's the show, folks.
It was a good run, everyone.
So Elias goes, "Hey, do you
100
want to do
episodes.
a D&D version of Zelda?" And I said, "Well, we can do that." And he wanted me to kind of rewrite the classes and stuff like that. I'm assuming just like flavor text kind of stuff, so it would work.
I think it was mostly races that we had to
Yeah.
we would have had to work on.
I mean, it would have been probably relatively easy too, because like Eric Roca.
Yeah,
was
I
gonna,
mean,
you know.
Flavor text is not difficult. But I said, well, we could do that, but would you be okay if we went in a slightly different direction? And I pitched Open Legend. And to be perfectly honest, I don't remember 100% of the conversations I had, but I think you were relatively open to the idea immediately.
I was simultaneously
it's 100%
skeptical
free.
and open.
I said, it's also free, so there's that. Whereas D&D,
And that's
you have to
when
buy
Elias
bucks.
moved to open to the idea.
Yep.
So yeah, he mentioned, he's like, well, we have someone named Alex that wants to be a part of this. And
Like he's my Zigu boss. He has imposed himself on this.
And so my first response to that was okay, but I'm not a huge fan of nepotism. So if this person wants to be involved, they're going to have to audition, and they're going to have to
I was going to audition anyway.
they're going to have to be actually good enough to do this.
Me having gone nepotistically
And
to
I
Jody
wasn't.
for the position of DM over here
100%.
saying
And I let's be clear. Was I good enough? No. Has that stopped me from gotten to a lot of places? Yes.
I don't know where this is going.
Oh, the joy of being a white man.
So
No, has it
anyway,
stopped me? Yes, it has. I'm not.
yeah, I mentioned that, you know, we could do auditions. I can't remember which one of us really came up with the idea of auditions and things, but I can come
I
up
think
with
we did.
something.
Well,
It was kind of just a default idea, I think, to find a
Because we did a
cast.
couple of rounds of it because we all did. We did a couple of test screenings.
We'll get to that in a second.
Oh well, excuse me then.
I have actually things planned in that.
Oh shit.
No, you're
So,
not good. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, you're not playing clips from the auditions yet, are you?
If I was doing that, I
Oh,
would have had
no,
to get the
thank you.
clips to Elias already.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I-
what his brain just.
Yeah, I was just like,
Right,
wait.
right.
No,
I don't
still
know.
no, you
thank
can just
you.
do the share
No,
screen
thank
and
you.
it'll pop up in little fragments on the.
I don't know.
That'll
Elias
mess everything up.
Elias
Also,
frantically keeping
also,
share
I-
screen out.
Also, I think we would have had to have given consent, asked for consent
Yeah,
for the people who were involved.
I have all of the audition games in that.
We
but
also
we'll
would have had
talk
to
about
give
that
consent
in a
to
second.
actually see that, but
So anyway, that's where again it started around April, and I started doing my writing and figuring out what it was. I actually remember the pitch I gave Elias, which was
And it was a whole pitch.
Mhm. Which boiled down to the idea of so every Zelda game is based on you transitioning between two kind of worlds. In the original Legend of Zelda, it was the overworld and the dungeons, which were technically all on the same map. Effectively, they were just little parts of that. And then you do things like A Link to the Past, of the Light World, and the Dark World. Ocarina of Time had, the past and the future. This idea of transitioning between two different places, Wind Waker had the ocean and then being on land, has been an intrinsic part of Zelda since its inception. And one of the things that I always thought would be really cool way back when I was a kid was having different versions of Link. I always thought it'd be really cool if they talked about, alternate realities and things like that, where maybe Link was a magic user in one and Link was a tech kind of dude in another, and you could switch between the different Links. And I always thought that would make a really cool actual Zelda game that could be a lot of fun. And surprisingly enough, Nintendo has not listened to my ideas for some bizarre reason. It might be that I don't speak Japanese, but who knows?
But now they are. Let me introduce EGO Newton. No.
Oh god.
Wait, have you contacted them?
No, not at all.
That might be the problem.
That could be it too. So yeah, I pitched in this thing is like, well, what if there was 3 different versions and you guys would have to kind of travel in between them to figure out what it was that caused it.
And we're still doing that to this day.
Mm-hmm.
The fun part is, I know exactly what caused it. I know all the stuff that you guys.
I sure hope so.
I should hope so.
Well,
I mean-
I will admit right now, there's some
As a
D&D
DM,
games.
I'm expecting it.
Campaigns that I start off where I'm like, I have no idea what the overall plot is going to be. I'm just going to throw little adventures at people until something starts showing up.
I mean, that's my methodology of being a DM. I have a world, and then I literally am building the world like like that scene in The Wrong Trousers of Gromit on the toy train, and he's like fervently putting out the track as it goes through to
Yeah.
avoid flying off the rails. That is how I DM.
I let
a
the
problem.
players name the cities and forests and everything.
You know what I should start doing? I should start letting my characters just like I have a couple of major like NPCs in my game that I have like random generators have given me. I have a shopkeeper person that's now a major NPC called Ilf Shimlin that now has the voice of Billy Crystal because that was what I panicked and that's what came out of my mouth. And now it's their favorite, but like get out of here. I'll call the Brute Squad. I am the Brute Squad. You are the Brute Squad.
I'm on the Brute Squad, then you are the Brute Squad.
Oh,
It's
That's why it's
hard
a
to
joke.
tell with Andre the Giant because
it's such a
his
good movie.
enunciation's not great.
But yeah, I'm currently DMing one of the longest campaigns that I have actually run as a dungeon master because I never was able to get a whole group together, but now that I moved home, I was able to, barring like my rehearsals and stuff. And so I've learned like I am not at that point where Jody is where it's like I can write all this cool lore and remember all of it. I barely remember what I do session to session. My last session is memorable because it was horrifically chaotic in a lot of ways, of which maybe I'll talk about later.
So anyway, yeah, that's where it came from, and apparently Elias thought the pitch was good enough to turn into things.
I did think it was good enough to add to a channel that currently had no content.
It
Wow.
was a C, but it worked.
So yeah, when we actually did the audition games, the actual plot of the audition games was set in Ocarina of Time, and you guys would, if I remember correctly, you guys would show up in Hyrule Castle town during right after, I believe it was right after Ganondorf got into the Sacred Realm. And so while you guys are wandering around Castle Town, a bunch of moblins and skeletons and things like that would come and attack, and you guys would have to try and save as many people as you could.
That was one of the scenarios. The other one was the same time period, but in Lon Lon Ranch instead of Castle Town.
Oh yeah, Lon Lon Ranch was the other one. So
I think mine was in Castletown, I believe.
Mhm.
And we didn't end up trying to save people. It became a try not to die, which we failed at.
Correct.
So we'll get to
I
that.
think I played it. Yeah.
Elias, fun thing about it, the characters that people played were not the characters that actually made it into the show, except for Elias. Elias started
Why mess with
Aruda.
perfection?
Yeah, Aruda was perfect from the beginning.
Had to tweak the backstory, obviously, thousands of years later, but you know.
Shifting a little bit to Alex.
Hi.
Let's talk about Riza.
Was that her name?
That was your name, is Riza.
I was literally going into my computer being like, what the fuck did I call this person?
Who is Riza? Why don't you give us your pitch for your character?
Superwoman.
God, do I remember her? Yeah. So
Mary
I had
Ceruto.
never- Are you done? You done?
No.
But I think I'm not necessarily super like big on backstory building because I'm not good. I'm a terrible player. And I don't know how to write things. But the original conceit was like the Gerudos were these incredibly strong characters in like Breath of the Wild, and like that would be fun. Let's do one of those. Maybe because like Urbosa was just such a boss, and I loved that. I went in something in that direction. And I originally made a character that had basically like no flaws, and Jody's like, this is boring.
It was interesting because
something else.
So an interesting thing about Open Legend is, and it's something we haven't used a lot since you guys give them tons of legend points already. But one of the big ways that you can earn legend points in Open Legend is they have a perks and flaws system. Where when you build your character, you can give them up to 2 perks and you can give them up to 2 flaws. And while you're playing, if you do something that is disadvantageous to your character because of one of your flaws, you can just go, okay, I'm going to use this flaw to do this bad decision. And the game master can actually give you a legend point for that. And that's one of the easiest ways to earn legend points is just play
You'll
your
notice
flaws.
that we don't really do that these days because we've learned the other way to get a legend point is just to break Jody really badly.
Break me or beg chat. So
okay,
Why not
that's
both?
Thalia. As a matter of fact,
How dare you? I had a goal. I have a goal to reach, and I believe we reached that goal. I'm not in Roll 20 right now.
Listen, you're not. Listen, the reason why I can make fun of it is that you're not really subtle in it, and you're open about it.
No, right? I do not manipulate people in a way that is like manipulation. You know?
No. Let's be clear.
I go, hi.
My manipulation isn't real. It doesn't count.
No,
Yeah,
it
I'm
doesn't.
getting gaslit by my own friends.
And I will also manipulate for Elias, who, when we had the MVP poll, complained about never getting to win it and everything. And I switched efforts to being like, vote for Aruna this time. He did awesome things. Remember this?
So anyway, going back to Riza.
I was gonna say I actually took the legend point, like every time you break you get a legend point, and made it my inspirational thing in D&D, and it's become more of a problem because my friends know how to break me really well, and so I've made some regrets. But no, yeah, I came up with flaws, but like the backstory was very weird. But
we need to talk about your flaw. My favorite
I don't remember
part of
my
that
flaw
character.
for Risa.
The flaw for that character originally was she was so smart that she would talk back to other people, and so her kind of caustic tongue would get her in trouble. So literally her flaw was I am so awesome that other people don't like how awesome I am, and I tell them about it. That was her flaw.
That sounds like I don't know what I'm doing, which was entirely accurate. I had no idea what the hell I was doing when it comes to. At that point, I never was able to really make characters at that point and had really put a lot of thought into doing it as a player because I was mostly a DM. I hadn't really been able to play in a lot of games. I didn't know how to make backstories that were compelling, and I think I've gotten better, but the most recent backstory for a character I made was literally a dude whose nose tapped empty. So have I learned? Not really.
I've always been interested to find out, because I remember the process. Basically, the way everybody's character for this game goes, whether you're a guest on here, whether you are a regular, is you and I have, it starts off as email conversations. It sometimes turns into Zoom calls and things like that, where we literally just build out your character. And I know how it goes from my end. But I've always been interested to find out how you guys feel about the whole process. So if you can remember the conversations we had about Riza, or eventually the conversations we had about Pierre, what are your thoughts on kind of the character creation process we go through for Realms, Alex?
I thought it was pretty good and robust. I feel like by the time we got into the show, my character had a very robust, pretty long, extensive backstory, and you were really good at helping me figure out what I wanted him to be. Significantly more tragic than I was expecting it to go. But
I mean, that's RPGs.
that is
I also had to, thinking about it, had to revise my backstory. I sent to Jody. It's just like, this isn't tragic enough. You need something. You need something that went wrong.
I had to give Jody a content warning on my backstory.
Yeah, I did not have this problem.
Oh, and for good reason, because of what your backstory ended up becoming.
You don't know everything yet.
Oh yeah,
Does it get worse?
It's so
Oh,
tough.
boy.
We'll talk about
Surprised
Eileen
by
in a
that?
second. We're focusing on Alex.
I'm going to get water so I don't have to answer questions.
How many emails did we go back and forth about my backstory? I want to say there were like 15 or 20 emails on that thread.
Easily.
Because
Which
I
is a
just didn't
theme.
I just didn't have a lot of major ideas, so I was open to a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
A lot of full disclosure. Pierre is named after a character in a show I was obsessed with at the time, which is a show called Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. Severely underrated show.
I remember you talking about that one a lot.
I got to interview the composer like right when that show was
That's
on
right,
Broadway,
yeah.
because the dude, Dave Malloy, the guy who wrote the show, was a big old nerd and loved Zelda and had a lot of game influences. And apparently I was his favorite interview of the entire run because I wasn't talking to him about normal Broadway shit. I was a nerd asking, hey, how did games help you create this show? I want to know. I still can't believe I did that, but like most of the people in my backstory, of which people I don't entirely know I've named on camera, are all people that were names that were pulled from War and Peace and indirectly Great Comet. So the accordion was also partially because of that too, because Pierre in that show plays the accordion. But also Bard made sense for me because hello.
I want to interject really quick in that around the same time these characters were being discussed and finalized, we were also commissioning art, the official art for them. And so the order that the character, like trailers came out, what ended up being like the Order of the Rose here, it was mostly based off of what characters were ready to have like the art done for.
Yeah.
And Alex was last.
I was
It's been a while getting things.
I could figure it out. Also, Pierre used to have a British accent
And
Yep.
and
that I dropped very quickly.
we had gotten all the rest of the art done. It's like, okay, it's time for Pierre. What do you got for me? And he gave me, a version of Pierre. He was a bow wielder, like Ritos are, and we're like, okay, cool. And
he a
so
bow
we
wielder?
provided a sketch where Pierre had this cool like bow pose, and the line art was great and everything. And then Alex, I show it to Alex, and he's like, oh no, he doesn't have a bow anymore. Recent change. Still has an accordion though, and I'm just like, the lineup's already done. What am I gonna do? We have a week, and so
Wait,
John-
I legit forgot that he had a bow at one point. What?
and so John, who ended up playing Atticus on the show for a little bit, was
Yeah.
our artist, and I go to him, I'm like, man, I'm so sorry, but can you fix the bow and make it like an accordion or something? And he, I was like, well, we'll make all these concessions. He's like, I can do it, but by the due date, whatever you get is what you get. I'm like, it's great, great.
I thought the art was good, and I full on forgot that I had a bow at some point in my time.
It's
before
okay,
that.
Alex. You forget you have wings.
That's also true. That's also true. I am a bird. I can fly, and I think I only started remembering that I could fly when we started having the bot command in chat that reminded me that Alex, you have fucking wings.
Fun fact: Pierre's last name is also Sue, or was at the time.
So yeah,
That's true because was I the first for backstory, like major things? Probably. I just went.
No, that was Kess. Kess was like episode 3.
Yeah.
we started delving into Kess's backstory, which we still haven't done a ton of, to be perfectly honest.
I hope we do.
So the reason we delved into Kess's backstory was you guys went to, I can't remember which flavor. Oh yeah, you went to the Kurds version of Kakariko, which is where Kess and Arel eventually were from, and Kess found out that her dad wasn't there, and that's when we first started finding out some of the, like, I have rules for people that can travel between realms that I don't think any of you guys are 100% fully aware of yet.
We're aware of them. We just may not know the details.
Yeah, you guys know that you're special. You don't know 100% of the rules, but you know that there are things like there's only
something
one.
Ain't right.
Zolta doesn't care about that. She's just 100% convinced that if she kills people in one realm, they'll die in another.
If you die in
So-
one game, you die for real.
Speaking of Zulta and Ilea, let's
yes.
talk about. I had a couple different names for this, but I think one of the names was Violet.
Does that sound like something I would have done?
It's possible. See, the fun thing about
I
Ilea's
don't remember
first character was mute
Yeah.
on
Well,
a live stream tabletop game. She didn't speak.
We say first character, we mean audition character.
yes.
Yeah, her audition character.
So here's
Yes.
the thing. I probably have the least experience with Zelda games of the entire group. And by that, I mean I bought one used for Game Boy Color when I was a child and didn't want to make a new game file, so try to play someone's saved game, and that didn't work out very well. And that's my experience before this. So
Nice.
I, being who I am, went to the wiki for stuff. And I went, Jody, can I play any kind of character, any of the races? And he went, yes. And I went, great, I'm going to be a fairy. And he went, I did not expect that.
But I'm like, okay, cool. Fairies are a thing. If you look at like Majora's Mask, excuse me, Tattle was a really interesting character compared to Navi, who was just annoying.
They're both annoying, but
And so also here's the thing.
All she said in her audition interview, hey, listen.
you didn't even say that.
No, she said absolutely nothing. It was amazing.
She kept narrating like what she was thinking.
I narrated what she was thinking and what she did, but my character never spoke. And that's because I decided that she'd be a fairy first, and then I wanted to like think about what the backstory of this fairy would be and what would motivate her. And so it was that she was one of the ones that was trapped in a jar, which is ridiculous and inhumane. Got free, but has
Another thing she
major-
learned from the wiki.
well, I knew about fairies being in jars. I had like some knowledge, but I'm not going to trust my own knowledge. I'm going to go to the wiki. I'm going to trust all those people way more.
First
So-
mistake.
I don't think it's that big of a mistake.
Tell us how you feel
But-
about Pokemon being kept in Pokeballs.
I
Don't
like
actually.
the artwork. I like the artwork where like they go into the Pokeball and it's like they've got a TV and are playing games and have the couch and everything. So that's my headcanon.
Yeah, that's what the fairies do in the bottles. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the bottles are clear, so you can see through them. The Pokeballs
Not the
aren't, so
pots
you
they
can
hide.
imagine what you want. But yeah, so I kind of set it up where she had a major phobia for Hylians and anyone who keeps fairies in bottles and captures fairies. And so as a result of being near Hylians, she would become selectively mute. And then we were near Hylians the entire game. So that's how that happened.
I think most, if not all of our audition games, until the final callbacks, were groups of 3 players that did like a 1 hour little thing. I had already done mine already, and then it was Ilea and someone else, and then their third person had like dropped out or something like that. And so I subbed in, technically auditioned twice in Ilea's party. When I was a Goron, I was fine, but then like the other player and everyone around us was just Hylians.
Yeah. And I was like, I will talk if we get away. Nope, that's not happening. Okay. But what I loved is my character like found a cloak to wear. And so then I'm just like a hovering cloak, which that's a bad guy in the game, right? Showing my lack of knowledge. So then
And
I
it's
was
kind of what a Poe looks like in
Yeah.
some.
So then you were like, well, now you look like an enemy character to all the Highlands around. And I'm like, I look cool. This is fun.
I think during that audition, you like Malin found you and was like trying to make friends with you, but she was still Hylian, so you were like still just very on edge, even though she was like
Yeah.
the nicest person.
Yeah, my fairy did make certain squeaks, I believe, at certain moments, but usually in fear.
Mhm. And that was actually our first time dealing with kind of mental illness in the Giga game, because I told Ilea when she pitched the character to me, is like, okay, well, if you're going to have an anxiety disorder, I have multiple anxiety disorders. It's not going to be played off as a joke. Like, this is going to be a real thing. So if you want to add that to your character, that's fine, but understand that this isn't going to be like, oh, now you have to roll at disadvantage.
Yeah. Which is, I believe, when I came back and said, I also have an anxiety disorder and depression and multiple things going on. So absolutely agree.
So yeah, that was interesting. I think after her audition, we had one more audition that we did, which I don't think anyone from that audition actually made it through.
I don't think so. I was with 2 other people, then Alex was with 2 other people, and then Ilea I was with because I was subbing in, and then I think there was a 4th group. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Originally,
do want to say this whole audition process is kind of fun to hear about.
oh yeah, it was a lot of fun to do. Like I had an absolute blast doing it. I would not.
There were some great moments, and then there was some cringe.
Yep.
There's a
Which is
little
true
bell.
anytime. We have there are stories that I will probably never tell about some of the stuff that happened, and some of the reasons why we didn't choose certain players. So yeah, I mean, it was an interesting process. It was really fun. I would totally be down for doing it again. I thought it was an absolute blast, and it was a great way to cast a show.
Yeah, when I got the email being like, so you're on the show, Jody went, but you can't play a mute character.
Yeah.
You need to come up with a new character.
I flat out, I said, you have to talk. Like I
Yeah.
thought it might be interesting, but no, you have to talk.
This ain't working. And honestly, like, well, I don't know if this is ahead of what you were going to say, Jody, but Trax, what was your question, sir?
to be fair, none of our characters are full Hylians, so
I know.
We're
So,
actually
so
had
my fairy
conversations.
could have made it.
We had two guest Hylians.
And we did the original cast of this. You'll notice, other than the fact that Kiri couldn't be here because she's super awesome and is doing a ton of things right now.
She'll be real busy over the next month. Yeah.
Yeah, she is. She's massively busy. But fun fact, Kiri was actually not part of
The first round.
process.
The first round of auditions.
Yeah. Well, she technically didn't quote unquote audition. She got put in as part of what we called the chemistry test, which was a final audition round that we did with what was our decided upon main cast, just to make sure that they could play off each other. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the final round of auditions.
So we did a semi-private, semi-public casting call, which is how we got a group of like, I don't know, 12 or so people. And there was out of all the people who auditioned, I auditioned myself, and I let Alex and Jody just confer amongst themselves, because it was the three of us kind of deciding on casting, ourselves excluded. And the two of them were like, Elias, I suppose, is good enough to move on. And then we had Alex, who was very new to everything, but he was the boss, so he moved on.
Well, in Alex's defense, like, he did well in the audition game. Like, he was enjoyable to watch in the audition game. So I
Comparatively, absolutely.
Yeah, I had no qualms casting Alex because I thought he had a really strong audition. Elias,
what did I do?
we're talking about the actual casting process.
Jody is complimenting you, and Elias is insulting you. So
Yeah.
But he
you know,
waited
par for the
until you
course.
stepped away to
Wait,
compliment
what
you.
did Elias say? Because it's probably true.
I mean, it was just nepotism talk. So
Yeah,
you're
he
fine.
basically just said, "Well, he's the boss, so he gets in." And I'm like, "Well, I also thought he had
I
a
would
strong
have been
audition."
sad, but okay. Oh, okay. I'll do that.
And
Yeah.
Elias, to be perfectly honest, Elias, I thought you had a great audition. Like, I liked the character of Aruna right from the beginning, and it felt that you had it really well. And Elias and I had been playing D&D together for years at this point, so I also knew what Elias could do, because I had seen him take my nonsense situations and turn them into something coherent. So I had no qualms about Elias. Ilea and I also knew each other from the same thing.
I take
She's
Jody's nonsense situations and I and them.
turn them into more nonsense,
Yeah.
Yeah,
generally involving alcohol.
it's a fun dynamic.
No,
Oh, yeah.
not always. There were the
Just with
llamas
cadence.
running by, and I went, "Yeah, I'll follow the." Well, it wasn't the llamas; it was the blink dogs, right?
Yeah, they were blink dogs instead of
Yeah.
llamas.
So I
They were
went,
based on llamas.
okay, and I ran after them. So
Well-
sometimes it doesn't need alcohol.
So
A lot of times it doesn't need alcohol.
out of
But
that,
it is fun when it does.
out of that entire process, we knew we were looking for about 4 people. We didn't want to have 3, and excluding me and Alex, we had one other person who was actually very, very good, but it didn't work out for scheduling, mostly.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then we had Ilea, who
Who's not as good?
Jody and I like knew everything we just talked about, but then she played like a silent character, like that was like iffy to Alex, especially, who had never met Ilea, and it was just like, okay, we'll call her back out of basically good faith, because we know she's capable, right? And so we had 3, but we still needed to find 4 at that point.
And that's when shortly before this happened, I do this thing every year called Daily December, where I make a video for my YouTube channel every day in the month of December. And one of the things that came out of that was this show I used to call This One's For You, where I would sing a cappella. I would pick a song and I would sing it a cappella, and I would dedicate it to someone significantly more famous than I am, to try and leech off of their goodwill. So
Nice.
Kiri,
Yeah, let's talk about how I'm manipulative.
And
so
I-
Kiri, I had been following since the first round of the vlogger search, way back. I think it was 2013, 2014. somewhere
Geek
around
and
there.
Sundry YouTube channel vlogger search for those who don't know what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
I'd been following her, and then she became an official Geek and Sundry vlogger, and then she eventually went over to Maker and did some stuff with Maker, and so I'd been aware of Kiri for a really long time, and so I did this thing where I did This One's For You for Kiri, where I sang a song, and a mutual friend of ours that I can't remember who it was at this point. But they mentioned, oh my God, that was really good. You know what? You and Kiri should do a duet sometime. And I'm like, ha, that's hilarious. Like Kiri even knows who I am. And Kiri replied, yeah, that'd be really fun. And so we did. We sang I See the Light from Tangled, which I believe is still on her YouTube channel.
Aw.
It was really pretty. I was super proud. So we sang that together, and that's how we got to know each other. And so when this was before our fourth player dropped out, because I was happy with the idea of between 4 and 5. I like to have between 4 and 5 players for an RPG. It fits really well. And so just on a whim, I contacted Kiri and I said, hey, you know, we have another mutual friend who's involved in this project. I'd love to see you guys hang out and do stuff together. Would you be interested in it? And Kiri's original thing was, well, I'm super busy, so I may not be able to make every single
Kiri, busy?
Yeah, it's weird.
Huge, if true.
And I mentioned that to everyone else, and I'm not sure I'm remembering this correctly, but this is what I have in my head, was me kind of pitching Kiri to Alex and Elias and going, trust me on this. She's worth the scheduling conflicts, 100%. She's an awesome person. I've seen her ability to, you know, act and do amazing, wonderful things. Let's give her a shot. And I have no idea if it was a hard sell for you guys or not.
I mean, I knew
But
I knew Kiri before the show as well.
I
so
did not know anything about Kiri, but we did the play test and was like, yep, like it. Perfect.
I think I was I was a tentative yes based on how the play test went.
I need to read a chat comment now from Sarah Effin Guzman. Jody, you inspired me to become a DM because I really liked the story you built. And I was like, I'm going to do that because I have a very hyperactive imagination. And I've been DMing for about half a year now.
That is wonderful. I love hearing that I'm infecting people with DMing. Like there's really
Jody
no better
is
way
patient zero.
Jody's over here like, I love to hear about me infecting people.
Infecting people with the curse of being the
Period.
forever GM, because once you are the GM, it is very hard for you to become a player.
Yeah, I mean, it's so yeah. We had the file on my computer is called Chemistry Test, but I think at that point, because it was actually August 2nd or 3rd or something like that. It was early August that we did the chemistry test.
Yes, that sound. It's like early August, maybe early September.
And I think Kiri was actually playing Kess in that.
Yeah, it was a proto
I
cast
think,
like Aruna.
yeah, I think so. I think so. Correct.
And then Ilea and Alex, I don't think either of them were playing Zulta or Pierre, but they
think
had
I was
modified
playing
characters.
Risa still.
Alex
Yeah.
kept with Risa. Ilea kept with her fairy character, but Jody, before this chemistry was tested, was like, you trust these people. You can talk to them. Because it was
Yeah.
totally different scenario. Like we were dungeon diving or something like that, and we had been traveling as a group at that point.
And to be fair, I also felt it in the first test of like, oh, this was maybe a not good decision to be unable to speak the entire time. So yes, we were willing to modify that. Fun fact, when we were then trying to pick our final characters, I was like, okay, Jody, I guess I'll try and be a Rito because then I can fly. And he went, no, someone else is already going to be a Rito.
What the heck, man?
Thanks, Alex.
You're
Why not have two Rito?
You're welcome.
I have a feeling that you would have remembered that you were able to fly, though. Something tells me that wouldn't have been an issue.
Oh, like that would have been hard for anybody except me to remember how to fly.
That's what I'm saying. The duality of Rito.
Remember, I am the dumbest person in this call.
Alex, you are getting
Put
a
it that
master.
way
Shut up.
intentionally, Alex.
That doesn't mean anything.
Sometimes I wonder how your brain works, Alex.
Listen, if you find out, let me know, because I still would like to know. That's a cat.
What?
So,
It's always funny how he just like goes completely straight out like a board. I've never seen another cat do that. He just boards.
And both of mine will. Sean's more willing to like be in whatever position. But both of them will just be like, and my legs are out now.
So yeah, that final chemistry
called
test
me?
was really fun. And yeah, from that point on, we were lucky enough that year that at what was it, at PAX West, ZU had a panel, and we decided to capitalize on it by announcing
Yeah, you dropped the
Realms of
trailer
the
that
Wild.
day.
Yeah, it was we had finalized all the details in August, like you said, in the PAX panel, which I think was our first PAX panel at PAX West that Zelda Universe has done, was at the end of the month or at the beginning of the next month. So like we'll announce it there, and so in a panel of formal people, we cut together a generic trailer. We had our characters like ready, but like we hadn't started on the art yet or anything. So I think each of us did like a quick little 1-sentence VO for it. The trailer's still on our YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah,
if you
the
wanna see
teaser
it.
trailer on YouTube has 8,700 views.
Yeah, okay, we get it. YouTube gets more views than Twitch for ZU.
I'm
It was-
just going to put it into the chat.
It was
Oh,
That's
wrong
a search
one.
query.
Oh, well. Well, that's fine because the first one on my search query is Pierre, by the way.
Wait,
Then Cass,
do I
then
have
Aruna.
the highest?
No, actually, of the character videos, the highest is Aruna with 4,300 views.
That's right.
Followed by me with 3,900
This
views.
definitely does not go in order of
Am
how
I the
old they
last
are.
one?
So then Kess has 3,500 views. You had 2,700 views, and it's absolutely about how old they are because Arel then comes in with 2,000.
Mm, 100%. But yeah, it was, to be perfectly honest, it was really cool for me personally, for us to announce at PAX West.
And it was being live streamed too on the PAX Twitch
Yeah,
channel.
like
It was.
so we got a ton of eyeballs on it. It was our when the show launched, I think we were by far the most popular show on the ZU Twitch. I think we started with like 30 or 50 people that viewed our first episode.
Oh, we
live.
had at least 200 come.
We had some key hosts, and maybe one of them was technically a raid. I don't remember, of some very big channels. So the first episode in particular had hundreds of viewers.
Because we like
Mhm.
linked up with like Zach and Malika from Hyper, I believe.
Yeah,
Hyper was one of them.
Hyper
Hyper was one of them.
used to
Yeah.
Hyper used to host us.
Because I would go in the Discord and be like, hey, Zelda Universe is going live with my show now. But yeah.
The Hyper people are super nice too. They're very
So
they're very
so we had the trailer there, and part of the trailer was the premiere date, which was at the end of the month, into September, and that was basically 4
September
weeks.
30th, I believe. Yeah.
4 weeks of ready time, and that was the time we had to commission the art.
Mhm.
So I told John, I was like, "Is a week per character like good enough?" Because he had, if you can believe it, some free time at the time, and he was
What?
just like, "Yeah, that's fine." I was like, "All right, so we need to get this first one out in the week. I'm just going to go ahead and just mind vomit how my character looks so you can get started, and then I'll let you know whenever everyone else gets their looks finalized and everything.
Yeah, I can't remember 100% who pitched the idea of putting a trailer out per week. In my mind, this was all my idea, and my brilliant marketing strategy worked really, really well. I have no idea if that's true or not, but that's how I get myself to sleep at nights.
I mean, it was all the three of us talking, so at the very least, you were a third of it.
And yeah, and the rest was history. We turned into something really amazing. And then a few years down the line, we took almost an entire summer off because a combination of Kiri always gets busy during the summer. And I think Alex was also getting really, really busy that summer too. So we took like 2 months off.
Was it 2019? I feel like I recall this because I was in Newsies and had so much I was doing.
I think it might have been it. But yeah, so we because I generally won't run a game for less than 3 people. It's a rule in the D&D Adventurers League, and it's just I don't like running games for just 2 people. It feels really, really kind of light as far as character interactions and stuff like that. So that was the rule that I had set out going into this, was we have to have a minimum of 3 people. And so I started tossing around ideas about how we could get around just not being able to play for an entire summer. And I pitched a bunch of different things that didn't work at all. Like, well, what if we went to every week? And, then we're like, well, then people that were missing would miss twice as many episodes. And no one was happy about that. And so I eventually said, well, what if we get another person? And
then that didn't work out. And so,
yeah, eventually I contacted an elder deity through blood sacrifice, and Chex was created. I mean, no. What actually
The
happened?
deity being called Twitch Sings.
Around that time, Twitch Sings became a thing, and I got into the absolute
R.I.P.
last beta test of it before it went public, and I started meeting a few people through that, and through through a couple different things. There's a streamer I used to watch who did Twitch Sings, and Chax would show up in her duets on a fairly regular basis, and she would show up in chat every so often. And I got to know Chax, and then Chax started just streaming, and so I started going there, and I got to know Chax relatively well. We sang with each other a lot, and so I don't actually remember how I pitched the show to you, Chax.
I think during one of my streams, I had mentioned that my Pathfinder group had stopped. And you had told me about Realms of the Wild shortly thereafter it. And it was like, come and check us out. And I'm like, okay.
I think that this is just how Jody gets new players.
Yeah.
Because the first time I ever got Jody invited me to play D&D with him, it was that I put in a Twitch chat, I want to play a game. And he went, hello, basically.
I cannot tell you how
popped
many
up like the polar
people
bear meme with bonjour.
in my campaigns have entirely been found through people going, damn, it's just so hard to find a game. Well,
It's like that's like the Beetlejuice effect for Jody. They say that a couple times, and Jody just is like, "Sup."
No, they say it a couple times, and then suddenly they have a D20 and a PHB in their hands and a scheduled time to meet with Jody.
And then it's just like, how did these get
Guess-
here?
Yeah.
Guess we're doing it.
This is my
So-
life now. Okay.
the big thing that I mentioned to Chax when I was pitching this to her was, so the reason we're adding another permanent member is scheduling. We're having a problem with scheduling. So I know you're creative and everything, but the big thing I need to be able to tell the other producers is that you can be there every week or every other week. So can you be there? Like that was the
So
the
can
whole
you?
thing with Jax was I really need you to at least lie and say that you can be there all the time.
Let me
So that-
preface this entire conversation with this is what your answer needs to be.
Yeah. And I just want to say that was my audition game, was saying yes.
Yeah, we didn't go through the full audition process
No.
with Jax.
Our audition process was the first episode. If it hadn't worked out, she'd have been a guest. I'm just kidding.
Well, and we've talked about this before, the fun of Chax's first game and how she threw Jody for a loop. And I think that that's what makes a great player for Realms.
Well,
is
I
just
threw
you have
me
to
through
do
a
something
loop.
that Jody is like, wait, what?
so before we get to her first,
Yeah, we got some build up for that.
Yeah. So Jax,
I like doing teasers.
Jax, when this started, like when I first pitched the idea to you, what was it like from your perspective? You know, what was your experience, Lila, like?
I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I went back and I watched the Realms episodes and like got to see from the very beginning. I was like, "Ah, these people are cool. I don't know if I can play with them. Like they're really good.
You got that from the first episode?
I didn't say the first episode. I said the first episodes. So I watched quite a few of them. I was like, oh man, these guys are cool. I don't like. Can I like? Oh, I'm getting nervous. And then yeah, you started talking to me about the process trainer Jody, and I just got like super hyped. As you can remember, he's like, okay, well, try and think of a name for yourself. And I, honest to goodness, probably or emailed him probably about 30 times being like, oh, how about this? Oh, how about this? Oh, but what if I take the Latin root of this and I put it with the so the Arabic word and I put them together? He's like, I honestly don't care what your name would be. But, yeah. Yeah, he goes, that doesn't matter. But so just very, very excited over the idea. And then he's like, okay, Jax, calm down. We need to have a conversation.
But you were still excited after you started, because I remember the excitement when Elias went, okay, here's our new Zoom link to use going forward. And you're like, does that mean it's time for Realms? And it was like a Wednesday.
Oh no,
Nope.
it's just every time I get that Monday email, like Trainer Jody used to come into my streams and I'd be like, are we playing this Saturday? He goes, oh yeah, I haven't sent out the email. I was like, Dad.
I've been
And I
so
still-
bad at responding to those emails, by the way. Sorry.
I'm very aware.
We're all
Yeah.
Listen,
What?
I'll usually be very clear if I'm like, yeah, I can't this week. So I assume that I'm just here.
I'm not very clear on my yeses. I'm sometimes just like, and my axe.
So for anyone
That's
that
good enough.
thank you, phone, from
You're
like
welcome.
2 hours ago.
Oh, you're welcome.
So as a way to deal with my anxiety, and this was part of the initial setup for everything, every week that we have a game, I send an email out to everyone saying, hey, we're playing, or I'm planning on running, who can play? And I do this for every single game that I run, is when we're going to have a session, I go, hey, we're playing, who can play? And my rule is I don't care if you have you show up every single week on time. I don't care if you've told me 100 times before. You have to reply to this email every single time, because then I can look at it and go, okay, I'm going to have this person, and this person, and I don't have to remember anything, which my brain doesn't hold facts like that very well anymore.
Which doesn't work when you just hit the reply button and not the reply all. Like this
Yes.
last chain of emails, I realized I just replied to Kiri and
Yeah.
not
Oops.
to everyone else.
There
I
has
just-
been more than one where I've had to reply to a person saying, hey, that only went to me, or I didn't notice it. And people were like, hey, I don't know, is Alex coming? And I'm like, he said it in the chat. Oh wait, he sent it to me in the chat.
It'll
Yeah.
get
He's coming.
it'll get to the end of the week, and I'm just like, Jody, I need to know how many people to set up the stream for. Like, I've only seen like 3 responses. He goes, "Oh no, everyone's coming." Yeah, they replied to me. I'm like, "Oh, well, all right."
It's strange because most of the time you want people to not use reply all, and in this case,
I
absolutely.
feel
the
like I'm
opposite.
using a reply all on like most of the emails I'm sending these days because all of my things have been to multiple people at once.
It's starting to get to me too, though, because I try to hit reply all on this, and then I don't send emails very often for work, but when I do, and I need to reply, I'll like instinctively hover over reply all because I'm so used to it this time. I'm like, wait, nope, that's bad. It's a
Yeah.
bad one.
Yes, exactly.
It's a thing.
Yeah, I it's one of the reasons why I switched over to Discord for my other groups, because then there's no reply all button need. They have their own little personal private channel.
I mean, there is at everyone, but as long as it's not with your entire company in the Discord, you're fine.
So
Even the internship I have doesn't use like Teams yet. We're just on Outlook, and I'm like, please, let's use Teams. I don't like emails. I have too many.
so
Yeah, I know
anyway,
that feeling.
going back to Chachaks,
But yes, I still get the emails and get really excited. And my fiance will look at me and go, "You're playing this weekend, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." And then I wake up and he goes, "You're playing today, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am."
Like, yeah,
And
what
then I
about
turn
it?
on the camera and I'm just like, "Oh wait, the coffee hasn't hit."
Oh no.
Many
So,
times when we start up the Zoom call, Chax and I are just both sitting there while Leah and Jody and Alex are just chatting and curious, and we're just like,
Listen, the
I would
best way to
also-
wake me up is to talk theater. We know this a bit
Yeah.
of me.
Eventually,
here's my
Elias
one
and I'll
gripe.
go, "Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
What do you
Here-
need?"
"Yes,
here's my
I'm
gripe.
required to speak now."
So we were originally told meet in the Zoom call 30 minutes before. And slowly over
Yeah.
time, only Ilea was there 30 minutes before.
Correct.
And I-
Coffee.
I lasted a
I
while.
used to be better at that, and then now that I'm here, I rolled
No.
in like.
I would also like to
factor.
note that I don't drink coffee or imbibe caffeine because caffeine makes me sleepy and coffee tastes gross.
Your
That must
time
be
is also
nice.
very different than our West Coast.
I am
time,
in
so-
California.
Yeah,
Before,
And I
Before.
was in California when the show
Before.
started. When the show
Well, not
started,
when
I was
I
in
joined.
California, and now I'm in California at least for another month.
And I'll be very sad when you leave.
So anyway, Chax,
Huh?
going back to building a rel.
Oh, right. That's what we were talking about.
So we started off this process the same way I generally do when I have a new person that I bring into any RPG, which is, so if you could play any character in this world, what kind of character would you want to be? And I think your first pitch was something to the effect of, well, I like rogues and being kind of sneaky stabby kind of person, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So again, I know the experience from my perspective, but I'm interested to hear how did Arel go from, oh, I like kind of sneaky stabby, to the character that we created that then when we actually brought it to the show eventually turned into Arel.
Yep.
It's a different
So-
kind of sneaky.
It is a different kind of sneaky. So it went, so Trainer Jody, I've played rogues. I really enjoy sneaky stabby characters. And he goes, "Okay, so you're half Sheikah, you have a sister." Just like starts naming out all these things. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, cool.
I remember it slightly did it differently.
What do you remember?
So and this is how I do it with I think the same thing happened with both Zulta and Pierre, which you guys kind of give me a pitch and I go, okay, well let's expound on that. What about your family? Do you have
no,
family? Do
so-
you have a good relationship?
that-
Do you have a bad relationship?
And that's exactly what happened. But from like where we ended up doing a Zoom call and talking about my character in order to sort of flush her out. Oh god, it's real.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Your mind is so corrupted now.
It is. I never used to do anything like this. Like, it was so out of the norm. Like,
Your fiance is like, you have a game today, don't you? All of the
Yeah.
sexual innuendo.
yep, that's exactly it. He goes, "Are you warming up for your game right now?" So, God, that happened this morning.
And today it was just a podcast.
Wow.
So while Chax gets it back together, really quickly,
So-
I sent Jody my background email and I included, hey, so part of this deals with dark stuff and content warning. And he sent it back and said, okay, I can't read that. Please put exactly where the content warning is and where it ends. So I had to send him my backstory twice.
Yeah, because at that particular point in time, my depression was acting up really, really bad. And without getting into too many details, that particular subject that we eventually dealt with here is a subject I have personal experience with and can't always deal with.
Yeah.
So yes, content warnings, very, very useful.
I tend to make characters with a lot of trauma. I have no idea why.
Welcome to D&D. The most dangerous profession in the Forgotten Realms is being a parent.
I think in one of our previous games to Realm, Elias asked me, do you ever make happy characters? It was something like that.
I ask that at least once a
An
year.
RPG? Wild.
Runa's parents are fine. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Runa has a great...
You're
they
right.
packed us a lunch to go home, you know.
You know what?
They love me.
You know what? I take it back.
I think my favorite part about Aruna's backstory is he has one of the happiest, like the worst thing that happened in his backstory is a relative got sick and he went out and got medicine to fix them. Like that is the
Aw.
worst thing that happened in his backstory, and I love it. Like I'm a big fan. Not that I don't like tragic backstories; they're great, but most of my characters have tragic backstories. But it is really nice every so often to have, you know, an adventure that their whole reason for adventuring is, well, it looks like it'd be funny. So wait, you're not avenging your parents' death. No, my parents are fine. You didn't have a loved one, you know, like your fiance didn't get captured and killed by a vampire. No, I'm single. So you're doing this for fun. Yeah. It is fun. I mean,
So why are you doing this? I'm single.
This is speed dating
Oh,
on
yeah.
steroids.
Yeah, that's a new character idea.
I mean,
Let me
my
write that
character
down.
is married, so that makes sense. Look, I'm sorry. I just don't know how to do well adjusted. I don't understand what it means in real life, so there's no way I will possibly portray it well on a game. Anyway, so with Arel's backstory,
Yeah, so back to Chax. So yeah, Chax and I had a Zoom call, and again, from my recollection, and I will let Chax kind of fill in the details, a lot of it was Chax would pitch something. I go, okay, cool. Let's expand on that. How can we turn that from, you know, cool character traits to something that actually is part of your motivation? You know, we need to find motivation for you to do things. You know, this all comes from my background in acting. First time I went to college, I was a theater major. I had a brilliant advisor and teacher, a gentleman by the name of Tom Bruno, who taught me how to really get into kind of the art and artistry of acting, and motivation-based acting. And technically, I think this system is the particular acting style that I tend to gravitate towards. It's the precursor to what everyone else calls method acting, which modern American method acting has almost nothing to do with actual method acting. but that's another conversation entirely. But the system was developed by this guy named Stanislavski, and then one of his students developed the method. And I'm not a huge fan of the original method, and I really don't like actual method acting, or what Americans call method acting now.
Well,
which is a
I mean,
marketing term.
The American version of method acting is the same as, but my character would do it. And just using
That's
it
what
as
my
the excuse to be a
character
jerk.
would do.
Yeah.
God, I hate those.
It is a remarkably unsafe, horrible practice that no one should be doing. But anyway, back to Chax. So that's kind of what I would do. Is every time Chax had pitched something, I go, okay, well, why are they like this? What part of their past, what part of their history would make them want to do that? What kind of things stand out to you from that? I think it was like at least an hour long Zoom call we had.
Oh no, it was like 2.5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
I'm very
Elias
glad I
can't
did this
stand it.
over email.
Well, I just can't stand like talking with me just during the game for 2 hours.
I don't think Elias
You're
can stand
muted.
most of us for 2 hours.
Correct.
There we go.
I mean, the fact that he still talks to me is honestly impressive.
I did run into him at SDCC back in 2015 and then followed him to a party. That was the first time I met Elias in person.
Oh yeah.
I think E3 was the first time I met him in person.
So Chax,
Sorry.
that's fine. So your memory of this 2.5 hour long conversation.
I remember at the very end of it, you were like, "No, I really have to go."
that
I'm like,
old Midwestern
but-
goodbye.
Exactly. But I think I was the one who was initiating it, which didn't make sense at the time. But yes. But no, that sounds spot on. So, and then it's like, oh well, shoot, I can't think of like why would she do that? And I sat there for like a minute or two, and Jody goes, "Well, how about these 4 different things? What do you think?" And I'm like, "Well, I like this one, but not this one." So the entire like it was very guided, which I was very grateful for, because again, I was just super excited and was like, "I don't know, I want to be everything. I love this world. I love these people." But yeah, so eventually what came out of that was this, as has been said before, this very edgelordy kind of character.
Wow.
Which
When I think of Arel, I think of Edgelord. Yes.
As well you should.
I think the
Um,
most
no.
important thing out of that, though, was Chax going, "I love these people," and then we really felt it.
Yep. So yeah, she originally had like this little bit more serious personality and was like very, very heavy on the as you can probably tell from the video, that she was definitely more on that sneaky thief, kind of darker side. And you now know the story of Leslie being dragged into the Shadow Realm. So that's how she was initially going to be played, and then we all know the downhill story from there.
Well, even in the trailer, you hear her like mischievous side, and then by the time you show up in the show, you just took mischievous and ran with it.
No, it was a different kind of mischief.
Oh yeah, it's a different kind, but
Mischievous
Not-
and seductive, like rammed straight into each other and made a
Yep.
realm.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. But yeah, she was originally like she was going to be more serious, but also kind of playful and very. I still wanted her to have sort of an awkward personality, but not as socially awkward as she is now. Just more kind of standoffish, and like not really wanting to get anyone involved with her in case like her shadows go berserk and something happens and we lose someone else that she starts to care for.
But
as we
clearly there
almost
was
all got
only
sucked
room.
into the void.
There was only room for one bitch in this game, and that's Zolta.
Well, she wasn't going to be like Zolta.
thank you.
Feeling I
Very
got
few are
from
ever
the
going to be Zolta.
original pitch was kind of like your sarcastic anti-hero
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
what I was expecting.
which is what I was expecting to until I opened my mouth.
It's always fun whenever you plan a character and you think in your head, this is how they'll be. And then the moment you start playing them, they're like completely like not at all what you were thinking.
Yeah, and it was funny because like we created this character and Jody sent me this amazing backstory based off of the ideas that we discussed. And then for the next, I don't remember how long it took. Let's see. January 29th, my first game was, I think it was late February 19th, 20th, something. Anyway, so after he sent me that backstory, the entire month before that, I continued the backstory in my head. And so I had a very clear, concise, like image of what my character was going to be. And like some of it, what I created got stuck in my head, and I thought, oh, that's something that Jody had put into the backstory and that we had discussed, and that was not the case at all. So he's just kind of like, no, that's not what's going to happen. That
At
won't work.
least you didn't change your artwork last minute.
Actually, I did.
Was it as severe as he doesn't have
To
a
be
bow
fair,
or he has an accordion?
Arel had
Just
a little
already
more
wrong.
time to get
So-
her art.
I
We got John-
apologize that I did not remember this.
we got John do the artwork again because he's amazing.
Yeah, and he was busier that time, so we had to give him a little more time to do it.
Yeah, and so the first bit of artwork came back, and it wasn't exactly what we were looking for. And I think I showed it to Jack. She's like, I'm not 100%. And so we sent it back with some corrections going, can you make...
That's right. I have that pulled up. Actually, no. So the design, the overall design and everything was very, very close to what it is now. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
Well, it was the stabby bits that we were like, you know what, we need this a little bit different. Can you
Yeah.
make them look... I think it was something to the effect of, can you make them look like...
Less kunai and more jagged.
Yeah, can because they're a piece of ancient Shikatek. Can you make them look like they came off of like a broken guardian or something like that? And he came back with the design that we have now, which is brilliant.
Mm-hmm. And her colors were originally going to be red and gray, but then sort of what ended up changing was that she became blue. So.
Yeah, it was cool. And then the game happened,
Yeah.
and I was thrown for a
More
loop
appropriate
because the character that came out was not what I was expecting.
Well, as a preface to this, really quick, to touch on some of the lead up, we come up with like, yeah, we should add a fifth person, and we're all kind of like reaching out, but not really getting any leads on who it should be. Jody finally comes back. It's like, I know this person, Chax. She's really, really great and interested, and she's available during the time slot all the time, which is great. She's super, super like sweet though. Like, I'm afraid you guys are gonna corrupt her.
And in reality,
Jax
Hey,
is the
I-
reason this game has to be.
That is not true. As I mentioned, I
It's
went
not,
back and I
but-
watched the beginning episodes. And,
To be fair, there was a tumble down the hill of Kessin Aruna. in the
episode
very first
episode 1 was just like, are you on top or am I?
Yeah,
That was
Jody
Pierre.
going.
That
So
was
I have to
Pierre.
ask this.
I like the way you said the very first episode, but if you go back and watch it, it's like 20 episodes deep.
It's the
no,
first episode.
no, it's the first episode.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but I said it keeps going.
Yeah,
Like,
no, it doesn't
Yes,
stop. It doesn't stop.
I'm just saying, okay, fine. From the first episode, we're not as raunchy as it is now.
Sorry.
Mhm.
It was more hinted at.
In my defense, if you have ever been to a Chax stream, it is the most wholesome thing ever. Like, she tells dad jokes. She doesn't. She
That
doesn't
sounds
use any
entirely
bad
on
language. Like, she's 100% family friendly. She everything about her persona before getting to know her as well as we do now was like this. Please don't take this the wrong way.
I won't.
But
Immediately takes it the wrong way.
Oh,
I
no.
grew up, for people that don't know, I grew up in the church. But I went to public school and things like that. So I had two different groups of friends that I couldn't let most of them meet because the people I would meet in the church would not get dirty jokes and other things like that. Like that was the kind of friends I had in church, had no idea, you know, anything even remotely naughty. Like they wouldn't get the joke. And that was kind of how I saw Jax. Was she's just this wholesome, you know, she's this wholesome girl, and gosh, I'm
Well,
gonna
I've
feel
been-
bad that we're gonna
I've been
corrupt her.
called
But
a kindergarten teacher to my face. So
I mean, I don't swear on my
Oh,
own
you're a
Twitch channel
kindergarten.
usually either. So we can get
Oh,
very
I do.
different impressions.
well, I don't either. Like in everyday life, it's always like cheese and crackers or cheese Louise or you know.
Oh, I don't
plus
say
single.
things like cheese and crackers.
That's way too scandalous for an Ilea stream.
yeah.
That's fair.
To be honest, most of these streams I've watched of Ilea have been academic
I mean, yeah.
based. So
Yeah, I'm not inviting actual like professionals in my field to be interviewed by me live on stream and then being like, so what the fuck are you doing here? Like that's not happening.
You should surprise them.
I would like a job in my field. We don't surprise with swears.
So yeah, that's kind of the genesis of all the characters here. Chat, I haven't seen any thus far, and I've been watching as close as I can. Do you guys have questions for any of the people here? Do you guys have questions for me?
Do you
It
have more
didn't
nice
have-
comments for Jody? Because that's also fine.
It didn't have the question prefix, but there was one asked from Imp in My Head. Does Iruna still believe that Zora eat their young?
Oh, I forgot about that was a
Yeah.
thing.
And I would say that Zolta has been very clear because Aruna's experience with the Zora in his realm, he is like, I don't think they did this. So, like, from the get-go, Zolta has been like, I guess the realms are super different.
Yeah, so to talk about Iruna's journey, mental journey throughout this, he was under the impression that was not something the Zoras did. Meets Zolta and hangs out with Zolta, actual Zora, and Zolta tells him like, yeah, this is what happens.
Let's be
And-
clear, Zolta did not tell him that. Zolta realized he was eavesdropping on her conversation with her cute little Jerry, and so decided to shift gears on what she was saying.
Yeah, that sounds right. So but then he asked you about it, or asked Zolta about it, and
No,
she was like,
sorry if I can interrupt. The child eating and burying in the sand, I was there for. That was like my first episode.
okay.
So Jerry
But-
wasn't there.
Yes, he was. Jerry has been there. I've been like, and now I want to look around for a lizard or something. I was just trying to look for something alive, and I think Jody is the one who was like, you found a lizard. And I'm like, great. His name is Jerry.
Well,
I
there's been a
remember
Jerry
this.
in every realm and two in the Power realm. I
Yeah,
think.
there's Jerry, Gary, Larry. There was a Terry. There is now a Mary as well. And God, is Mary the axolotl? And what did I name? The horse's name is Harry.
See, you don't
Mary
even
is the
remember.
axolotl, and Harry is the horse. Yeah.
so he
And then
so
we
he
have Derry, and Derry, who are the shadow versions because they're the dark versions of it.
so he thinks this is
Right.
true. He finally goes to visit his Zora domain, and I think he just straight up asked someone about it, and they're like, no, that's not something we do. So then he's just like, and then Zolta's like, well, but you know, in our Zora, and he's like, oh, so yeah, he definitely thinks that's still something that Zolta.
Imp,
Power
I
does.
like. I believe the answer is the rod of power.
No.
Okay.
A
well,
rod of
that-
restoration.
Yeah. It was
Yes.
a rod. I remember it being a rod, and I was.
You remember the rod
glad-
part?
Yes, because it felt sexual, and I was glad that changed before Jax was here. I
That's
like
the only
mentally
part I
made a
remember
note.
is it was the rod.
It was a rod, and
Yeah.
I'm like, that seems sexual. So, Yeah.
So
Trifork.
If Jax had
I
been
also
here when we got the
remember-
rod of registration, its nickname might be the dildo of Cannon Daddy.
No, no. I wouldn't quite use that word.
So my original
Is it
plan
more a dildo or more a strap-on?
for the three, because my original idea for this was there would be three kind of major dungeons that they would go through, because dungeons are a part of the Legend of Zelda, except for Breath of the Wild, and I have
Well, kind of.
problems with it. Breath
Can
of the Wild
I
does
can I
not have
ask a
dungeons.
question?
Divine
through
Beast,
dungeons?
technically.
What?
We've gone through dungeons.
Yes.
Yeah, you've gone through two.
Technically, yes.
You haven't,
Yeah. You
Oh,
you
that's
have
true,
just
you
gotten to
haven't.
your first
because
dungeon.
we've stretched out this.
Again,
That's exactly
originally,
it. 2 years in. Wait, there are dungeons?
so the original plan was the first dungeon. The first dungeon actually has a traditional map, like you would find in a Zelda game that I built out in Excel, actually, because my map making skills suck. And so the reason I introduced the Rod of Restoration was it was going to be kind of like the Rod of Seasons in Oracle of Seasons, where you would use it to change realms or change certain parts of the room to other realms in order to traverse puzzles and things like that, because that's a very Zelda thing to do. It works really, really well in video games. It is remarkably more difficult to create puzzles like that in an RPG, where you have characters that can like fly when they want, or they can blow up part of the dungeon to create their own bridges, or
But,
I don't know what you're
but
talking about.
who also don't think about creative ways to use the Trifork and try to use it as a lever at certain points.
yeah, I mean, you guys, the Trifork has significantly more abilities than any of them have even attempted. Like, I created this really cool magic item that's supposed to be kind of the linchpin of the campaign, and thus far they have used it to close wounds, because that is the primary purpose of it, and hit things with.
No, we
It's
used it to
nothing more
travel
than
between
voice.
realms very riskily.
Yeah.
You just once are like, hey, you know how this thing is like connected to the three realms? Maybe if we try to use it to travel between realms, like maybe that might be a thing. Like 2
Forgetting
years
that-
after you got it.
And then we haven't tried it since because it went wrong, and so it's the void.
Yeah.
I was about to
And-
say, we did it forgetting how poorly the three of us roll.
And in game, it's only been months, so how dare you?
True.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Only
we threw
months.
a rel at a wall.
So when you guys first got it, my original plan for it was to kind of open, to upgrade it as you went and give you more abilities. Again, very akin to, the Harp of Ages and Oracle of Ages, or the Rod of Seasons and Oracle of Seasons, whereas you unlock more things, you can do more things with it. And that just never happened. Which is
Instead, we
fine.
got Bool.
Yeah, instead we got Bull. Which is another thing I was not expecting.
I'm kind of sad, so I'm going to mention this now. And I heard you had the same idea, Elias, when we leveled up recently, having companions, additional companions. Is that
I have to look at my sheet. I don't know if it's anything I've used yet, but I did give myself the ability to use a summon like creature boon.
okay.
It hasn't come up yet, but not like an official like companion feat, I don't think.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what I
that
was.
had been an idea kind of tossed around at some point, because the last level up, I did have a companion feat originally planned. And so Trainer Jody was like, "Oh, you too?"
Yeah.
It's like there was about to be a whole bunch of little minions running around.
I have like a short list of like things I want to explore and look up every time I level up, but for the most part, like once I hit like level 5, I had hit all the like things that I wanted to like for sure add. I think the alternate form was the last big thing. So now anytime it happens, I just take another look at like the points I have available to me, the power levels, and just be like, what thing could I do here that would either be interesting, or do I just like power up something I can already do?
What I think that's one of the just the strengths of Open Legend, and is one of the reasons why I originally leaned toward it is D&D 5th edition is a great system. Don't get me wrong; it's one of the best designed systems on the market. It is phenomenal, but it is built for a very specific kind of game with specific kinds of characters. And if we had been, and we'll come back to this in a few seconds, is maybe the final question that we do. If we had been playing D&D 5th edition instead of Open Legend, we would have very, very different characters in a very, very different game. Open Legend really lends itself to allowing you to build the exact kind of character you want. And it's the way that I kind of pitch it to other people is it's a rule system that gets out of the way when you want it to, so that you can do the things that you want. But there's enough of a rule system there that you don't feel completely lost. And I like that about it. We couldn't have had, like, Bool couldn't exist the way that Bool exists right now in D&D 5th edition, because adding additional characters is a pain in the ass in 5th edition.
Kess would
So
have
no
to
one
be
would
a
be able to
ranger with an animal companion. That
Or,
is
Yeah.
or an
a lot.
artificer, maybe.
Artificer, yeah.
Artificer,
You would
Yeah,
100%
that
be
would
an
work.
artificer.
druids have things, but all the quote unquote
I would
pet
be a
classes in
bard.
5th edition are really, really rough, and they just don't really work that way.
That does lead me to a question I want to ask everybody that's not Jody. If we had been playing 5th edition, what class do you think your character would be?
Not Bard, since I already play Bard in the 5th edition game with Jody. I play a lot of sorcerers who are all wild magic sorcerers to just match my own chaotic energy. But my first D&D character ever was a ranger with a companion animal, and it was an all-black ferret named Snow. And it could have burning hands, so it was burning paws, and could just like run up and down enemies, and it was very cute. So in answer, not cleric or paladin.
I guess that's an answer.
So the one part that I'm kind of tripping myself over was because I was stupid. I put levels into pre-science, which I don't know why I thought that was the route, and I didn't realize it until partway through the
Well,
game.
you thought it was presence, and
Yeah.
you misread it as presence and just put points there, and Jody was like, okay.
And that changed the whole thing. He's got, so he would definitely be a bard with elements of rogue, because technically speaking, the accordion houses his daggers.
Bards can use daggers, probably, maybe.
I could
Bards
totally
can do
see
a
him
lot.
But a bard,
Going
a
like,
bard
the
rogue,
skull.
College of Lore. College of Lore.
He'd
Like
be, yeah.
I could totally see Pierre going like the Scald kind of route, like either College of Valor or
Yeah.
College of Swords Bard.
And I do feel like, I will say, my first character in 5e was also a ranger for the small amount of time I played it. I would love, I'm like, there's so many races I would totally, or in classes I would play in 5th edition, because I really like how 5th edition runs, both as a DM and as a player. I'm also most familiar with it. But yeah, I don't know where to put the prescient stuff. So like, because you don't want to, because spellcasting mixing between like a bard and like a sorcerer, I've seen stuff.
Well, I mean, bards
but-
have access
Bards
to
are
magic. You can
full
just take
casters.
Bards are full casters. So
you
if I were
can
like,
you can just take
bard-
some of those like mind focus spells occasionally.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
I can
like
do
you can
that. Yeah,
dip-
it is
like-
be bard rogue.
Divination
probably.
spells. So like take Scry, which is a bard
I've
spell.
actually never actually played a bard in a D&D game.
It's a trip.
I've only
Fifth edition
played
Bard definitely is the most fun
So-
version of the Bard to play.
the last couple of characters I played in D&D, I have a wizard that I'm playing in Witchlight 4 that I haven't played it with in a while. For a friend's heist one shot, I played a Circle of the Moon druid. I've got a dumb as fuck warlock at the ready, and I have a rogue at the ready.
Yeah.
For whoever wants me to throw them into something.
I have a rogue named Shiva for Shiv. And I have a half orc ranger as well. And then I have two characters whose names are M-E-E, who are twins, and use Jody's Dragon Knight class for them. I have my bard character who is Cadence. I have more than one sorcerer. One of them is absolutely based on Elsa from Frozen, but ended up using a lot of fire spells because of where we were. But like, it's interesting because you're talking about like, here are what my abilities are, and this is the class I think that they would go with. And I'm like, here's what I like to play and what is most likely going to be something I would do. Because like Jody said, these would be different characters if we were doing D&D.
Mechanically, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Though also, I think it's interesting that you're going to adapt the classes, because that I did that a lot for Geek and Sundry's website, right? That was the most popular series I wrote with them, was creating fandom D&D classes for like Sailor Moon and Harry Potter and all that stuff.
Nice.
What about you, Chex?
Well, since we started talking about what we originally played, and our characters. So before, when I played 4th edition, I was I was actually an archer too. No, my first one was I was a rogue. I have a thing for rogues. So I played a rogue, an archer, and then various types of healers. And I think when I built a rel, I was going through a really, really, really big necromancer phase.
The best
Again?
healers around.
Again, I agree. But I wanted to try something different. And I'm typically a support. So I was like, you know what? That would actually be really fun. And then in Jody's other game, I'm actually playing a barbarian for the first time with a race who's not suited to be a barbarian, which is pretty funny.
What did you choose?
Eladrin.
Ooh,
I mean,
that's fun.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
It
a
is.
legend wild magic barbarian.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep. So it is a lot of fun.
I
Mhm.
usually do
in
range casters.
Tasha's, they
Tasha's, yeah.
introduced a wild magic barbarian. Basically, whenever you go into a rage, you roll on a kind
Yeah.
of smaller version of a wild
Oh,
magic
I
table,
see
and
this.
something weird
Wow.
happens.
I've
Mhm.
never
you get to
played-
shock people or trap people or
I've never played a
Or just-
barbarian, and I have all these books in D&D Beyond. I should probably actually read them at some point.
Barbarians.
It's
Barbarians
really-
are fun.
It is, yeah. So I do have a character that I want to play, and Queen Venus actually has a brother built off of him as well. So his name is Norf. He is a knife dwarf. So to go with your
Shiva and North.
Shiva and Norf, yep. And my sister's character is Sporf. So,
By the way, Queen Venus is Chex's sister, who also
Yes.
plays in one of my Wednesday night Giga games with
I know,
Imp in my
Jordan.
head, who's in
Yep.
chat.
I didn't know that was your sister. Okay.
yep,
Yeah.
that's Macy's.
It's been mentioned before.
Probably.
She,
but I'm
They
very
have outlined.
I'm very tired when this game happens, okay?
Didn't we play with them when we did the Library Cats thing with Jody?
Yeah.
in
Yes.
December?
I believe that was Venus's first
Ever.
RPG, right?
That was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
that was
a
very
lot
fun
of
playing in
fun.
that game. It's very
Make
honey
me
heist.
a cup of hot cocoa.
It was very honey
Okay,
heist.
you're a cup of hot cocoa.
Yep. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
aggressive
was-
honey
A lot
heist
of fun.
vibes, which I found very
Yeah.
fun.
Well, it was a Laser and Feelings reskin, which I have actually started designing my own Lasers and Feelings reskin called Cuddles and Courage.
Oh,
It's you play stuffed animals that fight nightmares for their chosen children. Like that's the whole thing. And
Aww.
It is adorable.
That is really cute. I was thinking
Yeah.
of a different kind of cuddles and courage.
No, it's
course you
it's you
It
go to
is
like
realms
this dream
time.
world
I'm
Yeah.
and you
sorry.
fight.
That Saturday morning mentality.
It
get
is.
to-
Like,
You get to
I
choose
woke
what
up-
form you take, and like you can. Of course.
I woke up to thigh-high compression socks. That is a morning.
What?
They're just compression socks. I
Yeah,
thought they were like
it's fine,
like
Alex. It's just
calf length.
Jax being sexual again.
No. I bought them thinking that they were calf length, and I bought them for my fiance, and they were thigh.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yep.
So what you're saying is Fix just woke up looking sexy. Is what you're
Yes.
saying?
No, I woke up to Fix looking sexy.
Fix is your fiance. by the
I'm
way.
now
Yes.
tired.
But yes.
It's so weird that we've gotten so comfortable, just using everyone's usernames as their oh yeah, this is Fix and this is Viva Venus and this is
I'm called Shax in real life. Thank you very much.
I get called
No,
Get.
it is my legitimate nickname. Like,
My
I,
childhood nickname
was-
was Crash.
That was another conversation we had very briefly, which Jax is like, do I have to use my real name? And I'm like, my first name isn't Trainer.
What?
I have known you since 2015, and this is the first time hearing about this.
And my parents did not name me Trainer.
that would have been a great one. No, it was do I have to use my real last name?
Oh, is
So
that
because there's Elias Thompson and Alex Rosenberg and Ilea.
I mean, I am so unique. I'm a Madonna, our share, you know.
So my thing was I had a like my like username was like stuff that I had before I ended up starting to go out and represent ZU in a public capacity where I couldn't use a screen name. I had to use me. So at this point, the Lucas Starks brand is just literally branding because it's weird like putting my actual name on merch and whatever. I'm honestly kind of tempted to switch it to something else at some point. I don't know what, but it might. Because I pretty much just use my name for the most part these days.
You do
Matt
have a really
Mercer?
cool last name though. I like your last name.
Yeah. Matt Mercer misread my name once in chat and said it was Green-Eyed Botanist. And that's fun because I have a like black thumb. I kill plants. It's not a good look, but I was like, yeah, sure, Mercer. If you want me to be a botanist, I guess that's what I am today. Let's
Well,
have
all
fun.
of the green just goes into your eyes, so it doesn't actually transfer to the plants, which is
Yeah,
why they
no.
die. You just
Yeah.
absorb their green, and they
Which is very Zolta
yep,
as
yeah.
well.
exactly
I,
life drain.
I'm a psychic vampire.
How else do your eyes stay so bright and wonderful?
I was
Melanin.
working in retail management when I started my channel, and to avoid something a lot of people may not realize, I guess maybe not most, at least when I was in retail, you actually had a clause in your employment contract, specifically about social media, where they say specifically, if you say stuff, if you are associated in any way with the company online, like you just say that you work for this company and you say something that could get us in trouble, we will fire you.
It was the same thing from
instantly.
Microsoft, and that actually happened. Someone posted something. I think it was slightly homophobic, and they were joking around, and it was to one of their friends. But yeah, Microsoft found out, and they were just like,
Yeah,
no,
so
you don't work with us anymore.
My online presence turned into Trader Joe. I have done everything I can to wipe my legal name off of the internet. So if and this is long before I became 100% permanent and totally disabled. If I ever was to get a career again, I don't want my future employer to be able to find, or at least that's what it was back then. Nowadays, if I was to actually apply for a job, I would put all of the stuff I do online on my resume.
That is how I became a community manager on Google Plus. I was like, here's all my moderating experience on Twitch. Hire me. and it worked. But also, yeah, I want my name on the internet connected to all of this stuff, because what do I research? Games, geekiness, online discourse. It's weird though, because I did start when I started writing for Nerdy But Flirty as like the first official site I was writing for. I had Green Eye Trombonus as the name there because that's what all my social media is based off of. And one of my pieces got cited in an academic piece, and it's cited as Green Eye Trombonist for it.
Nice.
I'm like, wait, what is happening?
Can you
right
like
now?
reach out to them and be like, hey, you?
I tweeted at them. I tweeted at them like,
By the way, I have a real
I'm cited
name.
in this. Yeah, it was just really weird. So yeah, and then God, I was still technically legally married when that's a fun spoiler for people. When I started writing for
Spoiler.
Geek and Sundry.
Technically legally.
People double take when they find that out because they just really don't talk about it. But because
Really, what it
I
was is there was a drive-through and we were really drunk.
I mean, I also never talk about my third wife, but you know.
But because I was
Sorry, I
at the
don't talk about
time,
my first
my
wife.
author page for them has the wrong last name. So I worked very hard when I was doing the first masters to make sure everything academically is published under my real last name and nothing else. But just like it keeps popping up as little things.
To be honest, I enjoy the anonymity I get from having an internet name that is close enough to my actual, like my first name is actually Jody. So
What?
that's not something I made up.
Wow.
So if somebody
You heard it here first, folks.
if somebody were to recognize me, which has actually happened once. I was at a convention, and somebody came up to me and goes, "Are you Trainer Jody?" And I wasn't using my name. I was in, I was working effectively, so I was using my actual legal name on all my stuff. And so they just come up to me and go, "Are you Trainer Jody?" And I just look at them and go, "How do you know that name?" Because I had like 200 subscribers on YouTube at this point and got like 2 views on my videos.
How do you know that name? Come with me. You are the chosen one.
So I just go, "How do you know that name?" And they're like, "Oh, I watched this. I think it was through Critical Role, because I was never a mod there, but I knew most of the mods there. And to be perfectly honest, if I had asked the right ones, I probably could have gotten a sword because I was there so much."
The time before auto mod was hell for Critical Role.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
And Mercer sometimes being like, "Here's a 6-hour game just because we didn't get through everything," and dealing with 30,000 people chatting with no auto mod.
Oof.
The Dark Ages were amazing.
Were they?
So yeah, they knew me through this, and I'm like, wow, it was the first and only time I've ever been recognized for what I do online in the real world, and I was very, very pleased with myself. But yeah, so now if I could actually leave my basement, I don't have to worry too much about the 2 lives coinciding, because most of my family, like my immediate family, knows I have a YouTube channel. None of them watch my stuff anymore. And my extended family have no idea that I do this stuff, which is probably good because, again, growing up in the church, telling everyone, "Oh yeah, I run D&D games," a couple times.
It's like saying I'm basically a satanic overlord that controls people's lives.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And apparently that discourse is coming back, which
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
don't have anything better to worry about. So both of my parents have Twitch accounts now. My mother's is Twitchy Mama, which because she had Amazon Prime, so I signed her up.
Are you
so that she
doxing your
could use her-
parents' Twitch usernames right now?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
My dad did one stream. It was an unboxing video of his new guitar. And he has a green screen here and everything, so we can get stuff set up. And he willingly let me interview him about a paper he published in mathematics. So that was fun. So his name is Papaya Pop. So Twitchy Mama and Papaya Pop are my parents.
That's
And
adorable.
When I guested on like Hyper RPG and stuff like that, they will sign in usually on just one account and like use it together and screen it to their smart TV and then just like text into the chat. And I remember we were playing Gang Beasts and I was just like avoiding the fighting, being like holding a door, and my character looked very inappropriate. And someone mentioned that, and the parents were like, "This is what happens when a child doesn't listen to their good and wonderful parents." And I was like, "Hold up! If you're gonna say that, I'm gonna have a conversation here."
God.
I also look inappropriate when holding a door.
I mean,
It
it
was
was
going
Gang
to say it,
Beasts.
but this is true.
My dad will occasionally show up in my streams, but no one here watches. No one in my family watches anything I do except for Peter.
Whenever I did the cooking stream with Queen Venus, my sister, at her wonderful house, that if I ever do a cooking stream there again, don't mention her kitchen because she still gets so upset about it. She has a wonderful like showroom style kitchen, and she keeps it like meticulously organized, and you open her cabinets and everything is beautiful and wonderful. Like I go there often and I'm still jealous every time I see it. Anyway, yes, so I bring all of my streaming stuff. So I bring a computer, I bring my lights, I bring everything over to stream their house, all the microphones. And so I'm walking out with all of this gear, and my mom sees that I've broken down the lights and I'm carrying that out. And she goes, "Oh, what are you doing?" So I tell her. And so she creates a Twitch account to come and say hi. And now every time we stream, she'll just pop in and go, "Hi." And then she logs off. And then I'll see her again later and she's like, "So what did you guys end up cooking?" You were there for that.
I have done one cooking stream, and it was to prove to people I was eating. Because I don't cook, and I was like, "Hey, if we reach this thing, I'll do a cooking stream and prove that I can," and we did. But at the time, I think I had the fact that I was on Twitch on a dating profile, so someone started like whispering me during the stream, being like, "I found you from the dating site," and like wanting to talk and hit me up while I'm trying to cook curry and like talk with my chat. Yeah, I don't mention that I Twitch stream or any specific details on dating sites anymore, but I did bring up that I'm in Pirates of Penzance and that they should come see the show.
Wow.
So if you're the moral of this story, if you're trying to get a date, maybe don't try sliding into their whispers while they are live. Maybe that's a bad idea. I did want to mention.
Do you find out what shows they're on so you know how truly awkward they are?
Yeah.
Like, you get the raw version of people when you go and you see them either streaming or in their character games. Like things just come out that you don't expect.
Imp mentioned both Ilea and I. Hyper RPG used to do this thing during one of their games where they would run like a giveaway kind of thing where a member of chat could have their username used as a character in their superhero RPG that used to run called Valiant.
Valiant Vanquished.
There we go. And both Ilea and I got in there, and I think one of my favorite things that have ever happened on the internet happened. Jasmine, I can't remember Jasmine's last name.
Oh, is it that bronze girl?
That bronze girl, yeah.
Oh, Jasmine Gillar.
There we go. She was one of the characters on there. If you don't know who she is, she's a brilliant dungeon master. She creates content. She has a Twitch
just
channel.
did Coffin Rung for Dimension 20, which is very good.
Yeah, she's brilliant. Much more famous than most of the people that I know. And so she's playing this character, and my Zach Eubank, who was the CEO at that time and now is the COO or CCO of Hyper, emailed me because he and I have known each other for way back when he was at Geek and Sundry. Like he and I used to talk, and that's how I got to talk with Matt Mercer and do other things on Critical Role. So anyway, he emails me. He's like, "So what do you want your character to be?" I'm like, "I'm a monk," and so the character of Trainer Jody was a trainer that they dealt with, and he did this like really cool axe kick thing while they were playing, and Jasmine goes, "Ooh, Bendy, I like Bendy." So yes, that bronze girl commented about my character going, "Ooh, I like Bendy," and then they killed him off, which I was less than thrilled about. But
I had no say in my character creation whatsoever. And I think just because I've been modding since 2015 with Geek and Sundry and then Hyper RPG, so Zach had a lot of interaction with me. And I got to be an evil character, which is really fun, who was upset at them because my best friend was the character played by Amy Dolan on the show, and then she had to leave. So like it created this amazing backstory, and eventually I was a big bad that died, but officially #not dead.
That tracks with an Ilea character.
yeah.
It was great. I was part of the Vine, so in this like weird cartoon hellscape thing, I'm this giant plant beast that was attacking them, and then Void Smoker was the one who always made fan art of that stuff, and he made a brilliant piece of fan art of my character getting a giant hole in their chest. But I'm like, nope, not dead. Refuse to believe it.
Yeah, I wasn't huge into Hyper RPG until I became a character, and then I became a huge supporter. And then stuff happened, and now I don't watch them anywhere near as often. And the channel itself has changed.
Bring back the Buffy RPG.
I did some work with them recently.
Yeah,
they were very kind.
Were they-
They're nice people.
Were they the ones that did the Mario RPG one shot?
Probably. They did a
It's possible.
Gremlins one shot.
They've been doing a bunch of
ton
recently because they just finished Kolok, which is incredible.
Yeah, they licensed a show that they created to AMC and their Fear HQ Twitch channel, and so that was the big thing that they've done recently. Was
there are billboards near where I live for that show now? Yeah,
It's and
Like, it was a
Curious
big
Partner worked
deal.
on that actually.
That makes sense to be honest.
And it was really incredible. I had to catch up on VODs, but it was so good. Like they put so much work into that show, which like
There is a lot of love for the medium with them.
I watched I think I watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes of season 1 of Kolok, and then horror is just again like I try to explain this to people. Like I have multiple anxiety disorders, including panic disorder, which means that I get panic attacks for no reason. And so things like I used to like roller coasters, I don't anymore. I've never been a horror fan, and people go, "Oh, it's fun to get scared." It's not. When it's something that's novel and you have control over it, then yeah, it is fun. For me, I don't need a horror show to get that little burst of adrenaline. I get them every single day, multiple times a day, and can't stop them. It's just not enjoyable for me.
I don't like movies that intend to scare you. Like they have the ending where it's like, oh, he's not dead yet, or all the zombies are on this island too, like where there is no potential for actual success. I'm okay with a jump scare occasionally, but I only saw small snippets of Dawn of the Dead when I was like 16 because I had to walk through the room where the people were watching it to go to another place and then like back and forth a couple times. So I didn't see more than maybe 5 minutes of that movie. I had nightmares for 6 months straight, and I still locate everywhere I can escape or hide in a new building. So I'm with you, Jody. No scary movies.
I've watched a total of 2 scary movies, both of which, because the girl I was dating at the time is the same girl, was really into horror movies. And so we watched House of a Thousand Corpses, which is not, I don't really consider that a scary movie. It's just gross. It's just a lot of, piles and piles of pieces of human flesh everywhere.
Gore is different than scary.
And then we watched The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which, spoiler alert for the movie, the big kind of plot point about the movie is 3 a.m. is the devil's hour, and that's when all the bad stuff happens. What happens if you're going to be possessed, according to this movie, is it'll be 3 a.m. and you will smell something burning. Literally, the night I watched this movie with my girlfriend, I went home. My mother decided to run the self-cleaning cycle for our oven. If you don't know how a self-cleaning oven works, it just heats the oven up really, really hot to burn everything in there. And so I woke up and it said 3 o'clock on my alarm clock, and I smelled something burning. So I went downstairs with my wooden bokken, because obviously you can slay devils and demons with a wooden training sword, to find out that, and I didn't sleep for like a week. So
When a level 1 D&D character goes to the Nine Hells.
So anyway, unless people have any more questions, we've gone a little bit over. I kind of planned
A
on
little
us.
bit.
40 minutes isn't that long for
We still have 4.5 more hours.
Yeah. So if anyone has
I
any
have to
other
do a show tonight.
if anyone has any other questions, feel free to put them into chat. Otherwise, I have kind of one final question for everyone that we can kind of end this on, which is
The Midwestern goodbye question. Okay.
yes,
go
the
ahead.
Midwestern goodbye question. We'll be done in about 4 hours.
I have a show tonight, and Alex has to drive to San Jose.
It's
So-
not that long.
Oh,
no,
I don't have
so
work
far.
to do, so
If any of you were to play a different Realms character, like any of the characters that already exist, including guests, but you weren't playing, like Ilea wasn't playing Zulta, which one would you want to play, and what major change would you make to play them differently?
I'm gonna interject with I don't think there's a specific character I want to play, but I do want the name Brayak Potts. So dibs.
Nice.
Did you watch Don's episodes where he
I
was
did.
Brayak? Okay.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to realize what the joke was there. So, yeah.
It was you
Such
played
a
the long
great
game.
name.
Yeah.
Don
My
played the long game.
favorite part of Brayak was an inside joke, because his special item, everyone that joins the show, you get a special item. His special item was the energy transfer staff. And the reason it was the energy transfer staff is because that spells out ETS, which also stands for the Elias Thompson Show, which is something Elias used to do years ago.
He was just in the middle of the session. He's like, I will use my energy transfer staff, or ETS for short, and I just collapsed in my chair.
It was great.
Nice, good shit.
I think we made some responses about it being more than mediocre, because
Yeah.
that was the tagline for his show.
Yeah.
I would also say it was probably a bit meh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Wow.
great. So I wanna bring Don back sometime.
I mean, he's a realm traveler. He's you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's the only person you guys have found that can go between realms.
That means he's
and-
probably
Because
got.
I quickly found out how bad an idea that was. I'm like, nope. Everybody else is trapped to a single realm. Any other guest that shows up, trapped to a single realm.
Anyway,
Gives
so
me
Mez
ideas.
for Mighty Extreme Heroes, and is the D&D game that I played with Elias and Dawn that was DM'd by Jody for that inside joke. But I would probably do rephrasing that. I would probably
Yes.
play
No,
as
no.
Aurel
You
or
would do it.
Pierre
Probably do a rel up here.
I would probably do a rel too. I mean,
because
Okay.
Everyone would do a rel.
I like having sharp things to stab people with, and my change of Pierre would be one, remembering to fly, because that's a joke, But I would use his daggers more and just be like dagger, dagger, dagger.
We have to
and
actually get in fights for that, though.
I know. And with Arel, I would probably like increase the sexual innuendo a bit. I think it's a little too low right now. So
Fair. I'm trying to keep it as PG as I can. Come on.
You're
out
failing.
there.
yeah.
You're not doing a good job at that.
Let's be clear. At best, our show is PG-13.
Okay, a lot of them end up being like, yeah, and then you guys are like, no, Arel, like, okay, I can see that.
It's
I can get behind that.
it's the jokes for the adults in the PG movies, right?
Yeah,
that the kids don't
exactly.
get till they watch it again when they're older.
Exactly. It's like, what? Do they really say that?
So, Elias, what about you?
If we're talking player characters, probably some version of Atticus Zorak. At the very least, because I can do that accent semi-decently. And yeah, no, it'd be cool to mess around with that.
I'm a big fan of anyone that comes in with a whip. So
Didn't he have a gun? Didn't he also have a
Please
gun?
he had both. He had a gun and a whip.
Because I remember trying to steal the gun and Guess wouldn't let me.
That sounds accurate.
I think it would be really fun to play Aruna.
Yeah,
Just
I
like
can
being
confirm.
brutally
Aruna's-
honest and
Aruna's
straightforward,
my
and be like,
answer, and also it's like I can just say things, and they don't necessarily have to be smart things, and it'll just be fun. I
Zoltar would also
vibe
be
a
fun.
lot. I vibe a lot with characters right now that are kind of no thoughts, head empty, because I need times where I can just not think. and
Well,
just have
so
a
so
good
you
the
time.
thing
too would
is
play Arel.
Aruna is actually very smart. Zolta
Yeah.
just keeps up this narrative that he's dumb as rocks.
Yeah, Aruna is quite literally the second smartest character.
Oh, I'm aware.
The only
I'm
person
aware.
that is smarter than him is Cass, and she's just barely smarter. Like
He's just
they're
very,
both
like,
geniuses.
Straightforward and literal.
We
Yeah.
just
Well, that
we
was
that
we
kind of
present our
like-
intelligence in different ways.
Because I think one of your flaws, Aruna, is honesty,
Hmm
and so I think
That
that's where
tracks.
this idea. came
Most of the
from.
time, it just comes off as like brutal, blunt, like honesty. Just like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Zolta
right.
is our pride and ambition.
Arel's is
They didn't
socially
have
awkward
a
and
flaw
something else.
that said
Evil.
considers everyone a waiter.
servant.
You
Um,
know,
think that's just
that was
nobility.
just a yes and event.
Well, that flaw is just called Zora privilege.
Yeah.
I
How
was
dare
actually
you? That was my uncle.
I was looking at the comments on character videos in the teaser trailer, and one of them is like, "Why did you make my favorite racist character so horrible?" Because she's such a bitch. My
Wow.
favorite on the teaser trailer was, "I am confused but intrigued." I'm like, that's basically the show.
That's Realms.
Yeah.
You don't even need 30 seconds to describe the show. Just two seconds, confused yet intrigued.
Yeah.
So that's
Realms
just
of the
how you'll
Wild.
wrap it up at the very end, Trainer Jody. You're gonna have that one clip of Realms of the Wild. Confused,
Confused,
but intrigued. Join us
other
every
week.
episode.
Who would you play,
No.
Jody?
Who would I play? To be honest, I like Arel for a number of reasons.
And she likes you too.
She likes everybody. I like teleporting characters in general. Like my absolute favorite magic power, whatever you want to call it, mutant ability, is teleportation.
Mine
I think it's a
too.
really, really fun thing. So if I was playing Arel, I would lean super hard, not only into shadow stepping everywhere, but I would use the stabby bits like crazy to just jump into random places that I shouldn't be able to go. Just
I
'cause
would want
that's what-
to.
Hold on, let me write that down.
I would want to experiment with the stabby bits of
That's
stabbing
very real.
people and seeing if I could
But
jump
not
into
the
them.
around. Oh, we can do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have
Yes, night.
I have a shadow monk in the D&D Adventures League that I used to play. I haven't played in years. But there's one adventure where the way the adventure is supposed to go is you go. This town is under siege by an adult green dragon, and you're all like level 5, 6. So you can't take on an adult green dragon, but you're trying to save and kind of evacuate the rest of the town. And what eventually happens is you get to this one place where there's a Cambion, which is a type of demon, humanoid demon. And so the Cambion, which can fly, is way up on a rooftop. And the way that the fight is supposed to go is you have to basically kill all the dudes on the ground floor, and there's no way for any of the characters to get up to him. So once you take care of the dudes on the ground floor, as he's up there just taking pot shots at you, he flies away, and then he goes and he joins the other antagonist for this adventure for the final fight, which is with him and then this warlock who's on the back of a wyvern. So it's supposed to be this really, really cool fight. Well, I'm playing my Shadow Monk, 6th level. They get the ability to Shadow Step up to 60 feet as a bonus action. And so I asked the DM, are there there's like shadows on the rooftops, right? Like there's got to be a shadow up there somewhere. It's like, yeah, I guess so. Okay, I Shadow Step up there. He's like, okay, well, what are you going to do? You're going to 1v1 this Cambion? Go for it. And I get up and I stun him on my first punch, because monks can do that. And I just yelled at everyone, hey, you all have advantage on him. Kill him. And we ended up killing him without him ever doing anything, because I stun locked him for like 2 rounds, and everyone just shot arrows at him, which upset the DM. And then we get to the final fight, which is supposed to be a warlock, a wyvern, and a Cambion, along with a bunch of minions, and it's supposed to be really, really hard. So the first thing we do is I cast silence, because Shadow Monks can also do that. So the warlock can't do anything. And we had a ranged fighter, and he just took some pot shots. We killed the dragon before it got its turn in initiative, and the warlock couldn't do anything because she was strapped to the dragon, or the wyvern. And so at the end of it, the DM just goes, fuck it, you win. All right. And he just walked away. So yeah, those are the kind of characters I generally
that sounds
play.
like my last D&D experience, let's be honest. That sounds like what happened Monday for me.
So yeah, if I was to play a character, it would probably be Arel, and I would upset the DM with how many times I would just do random jumps to places I shouldn't be able to be.
Okay, hold on. I have a question about my own abilities now.
Sure.
So, I thought it was...
I have a question about how I can upset the DM.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was just within line of sight. Like, the only reason and way I've been shadow stepping is within line of sight.
So the way that the teleportation power works in Open Legend is you can teleport up to a certain distance depending on your power level, which I believe at your power level right now, I think your maximum is it's 5 feet times your power level. So I think you can do like 30 feet, I think 25 or 30 feet.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And the additional limitation that we put on it is there has to be a shadow for you to step into and out
Right.
of.
Right.
But your stabby bits are an extension of yourself. So if you throw it, you can actually shadow step 25 feet from your stabby bits. And with ranged attacks, I believe your throwing ability with your dexterity, you should have a minimum of 50 feet that you can throw. It might be 75 at this point. I'd have to look at what your stats are, because that's based on your stats. It goes 25, 50, 75 for your short range, and then long range is double that.
Tell me some more things you would do to upset your DM.
So literally, if you throw your stabby bit 50 feet, you can shadow step up to 25 feet away. And if you have stabby bits just out there on the battlefield, you can shadow step between them, as long as there is a shadow somewhere near. So
Now,
yeah, I
in
believe
theory,
I built everybody's characters except Elias's.
but say in theory, if you were min-maxing Iruna's character, how would you do it?
Already min-maxed your character. What are you two talking about?
I don't think I can ask that question either.
Yeah, like I built the original version of Zulta because I knew the system and she didn't. the Zulta that exists now, Ilea knows the system very, very well, and has min-maxed her character completely.
But not with the intention of min-maxing. With the intention
I
of
mean,
this is what my
it
character
makes
would
sense.
do.
But
Doing the jerk phrase.
I do not believe I could create. I could do things with Zulta that Ilea hasn't already come.
I hyperfixate on research.
Shax, on the other hand, and Arel specifically, I built the character much more recently than she did, compared to like Ilea, who's had it for 4 years. Shax has only had Arel for 2. And I have so much more knowledge of Open Legend than Shax does that I just know her character very well. So
yeah,
I could probably do a lot of things like the way that Pierre was pitched to me is very different than the Pierre that we have in the game.
Well, for one thing, you would make Pierre fly if you were Pierre.
I'd make Pierre fry, and I would
Fry is a Freudian slip due to all of the bird
Is it though?
sacrifice?
Is it though?
No,
Because
I would
sacrifice
make
since
Pierre
day one.
fly, but I also would have leaned a lot more heavily on the bard aspect, and I would have gone full into the support style character, because there's a lot of really cool kind of support things you can do with presence. And
what would you do with the pre-science?
Well, that's what he was attempting to level up, but
pre-science
Because again, I'm an idiot.
can
I'm
turn
not that
into
smart.
like I like the way that Pierre has gone. I like the fact that he's now partially psychic and can do cool things like that. I think
Good.
it's
I'm glad
good,
you
cool.
like it.
But
I do
built,
too, but there is significantly less music than I was expecting when I joined.
Yeah, I
Do you
again,
want
if
more
I-
music?
When you're not here, and it's just like he's focusing on his pre-science and playing.
Everyone but
Melody.
Elias will gladly start singing at you.
I
had
am
a
not
musical
working for that
episode.
right
No.
now.
I mean from Pierre specifically. From
I'm
Pierre.
sorry. I do not. I have been playing this character not very well.
There's
Clearly.
been very few bard moments, and it's a lot of.
I played a 5th edition
I'm not-
bard whose instrument was accordion, but the thing about him was that he was good at casting spells but terrible at playing the actual music. So
Oh, that's great.
with the accordion, it would just sound like someone was falling over with horns every time he just played.
There was a time with Cadence where she needed to do a performance, and Jody was like, it was okay. You had some wrong notes, and I was personally offended. I don't think I told you that before now.
I built one of the bad guys that you guys took out really, really fast. I was a little upset about. One of the bad guys I built for Realms was a psychic controller type character, which we actually, a lot of the ideas I had for that, we kind of turned into Arel's shadow form that you guys have only seen once.
Oh,
Um,
it's upgraded version. I'm so excited.
But yeah, so I built an Open Legend character that was all about, like, the entire thing of the character is that they really had no ability to attack. Their entire thing was they would control something else to fight. And that was really, again, that's another thing that you can't really do in D&D, but in Open Legends you can, which I really liked. It's Open Legend has so much potential to do just weird, interesting characters, and that's what those are the characters that I tend to play. It's very rare that I when I do get a chance to play, like I play in a game with Elias now, and my character is a Battlemaster fighter who throws cards.
What? That's
Wait,
the
that
class.
Wait,
That's what I am.
that
I'm a
throws
Battlemaster
cards?
fighter that throws cards, has the gambler background.
Oh,
Like, your
okay.
Gambit.
I heard
100%
cars,
Gambit.
like and I'm like, wait a minute.
I
excuse
also heard cars and just visualize Fast and the Furious when all the cars
Yeah,
are
every
coming out.
Yes.
time I just go family, and then cards appear.
But I don't like
One of my
this
favorite
video
things that
shit.
happened in that game was we get into this haunted house effectively, and we go into a room, and there is a ghost there that doesn't realize she's dead apparently, and I just, because my character's a gambler, they have a decent charisma and are trained in deception, so I just lie my ass off and say, yeah, we're the new servants, and she believed me. And
You got to tell that full story because that is an awesome story. We might
So
not
what-
have time for it.
it'll be real quick. What ends up happening is, as we
A
get a
lot
bunch
happened.
of information, as we're leaving, one of the characters sees something valuable, and she's like, "I'm going to steal that." And we're all sitting there going,
Yeah.
"Really?" It's like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. In the small bedroom that we were in, with nothing to hide behind, you're going to go, okay.
She rolled
And
bad.
Our DM, who's Don, goes, okay, and she rolls bad, and the ghost turns from ghost to banshee.
Yep.
And so I go, everyone turns to me, and I think it was actually Elias goes, can you just like make her not mad like you did before?
Well, you still had to roll. You and her had to still roll an initiative for the initial round, but you got there first.
And so what I said to Don, I said, so this is what I want to do. I don't know if it's going to work. One of my Battlemaster maneuvers makes them afraid of me. That gives them the frightened condition. So what I want to do is I want to throw a card. If it hits, I want to use this maneuver. She has to make a saving throw. If she fails, I'm going to frighten her, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to just yell at her because she's admonishing my servant, and my servant was just doing her job, trying to clean your stuff.
Yeah, we found out she was the lady of the house, and the way he deceived her was by acting like we were staff.
And so,
There are waiters everywhere.
Sure enough, Don goes, okay. And so I did it, and I got everything right. And I go, listen, do you know how many people you have scared away? We are the last group that are going to be here. Though I'm using a Liverpudlian accent. I'm using a Mancunian accent for all of this. I'm like, no one else is gonna come here. If you scare us away, no one else is gonna come here. So you better stop yelling at my employee, because she's just doing her job. And and it worked.
Yeah,
I'm like, the union's
avoided
not
a
gonna
banshee
help.
encounter.
It was amazing. So, yes. Anyway, that is going to be all. Hey.
What is this transition? Okay, hang on. Since we're reflecting here on rounds,
Okay,
can we talk about
okay.
how?
No, we do need a better end question, and that is, Jody, where do you see Realms going in the next year?
Where's the Rob's? Well, as you guys are aware, there are 3 wounds. That the whole kind of plot of this is you guys have to fix these wounds. You guys have gotten to the location of the final wound. So you guys are going to deal with this dungeon that I have a lot of cool stuff that I'm not going to talk about because I want you all to discover it in there. You're going to deal with this dungeon. I will say Kiri will like this dungeon. The rest of you may not.
So lots of hook shots.
No.
Pierre,
okay.
remember you can
Puzzly,
fly.
puzzly.
Kiri will like
Noted,
this
thank
dungeon,
you.
not
Ah.
Tess.
You have. Oh.
Intriguing.
Once that wound is done, effectively we go into the end game. I have a kind of final thing that you guys have to deal with. Again, I won't go into details, but once the wound closes, we will have kind of the end game, and then if you guys survive, you get to sunset these characters, and I have actually already started working on campaign 2.
So I want to be
Question.
very clear. Every time that Jody is like the end game and things, my brain thinks Calamity Ganon, and this is why I hoard legend points.
Even though he's told you multiple times, we'll never fight
Yes.
Calamity Ganon.
But also, it doesn't matter if it's Calamity Ganon. It's like end game, and I'm like, so I need 100 legend points for whatever the end game is.
So, but when you say that Kiri herself would really enjoy this, is this based off of her books by chance? Did you know?
No, but that is a good idea, and I'm
Special episode. Special
may or
episode.
may not have ideas like that planned out for campaign 2. Like I said, Elias and I have already talked about campaign 2, and I've already pitched my idea. And I don't know if he's just placating me so that I finish up this campaign first, but he seemed intrigued by it.
I'm having Jody focus on finishing campaign 1.
Yeah.
But everyone in chat should go to Twitter and tag Zelda Universe's Twitter account and make predictions about what everyone's going to play in campaign 2. Will I still play bitches who think that everyone's a waiter? Who knows?
I will say
characters.
I have designed campaign 2 so that if people want to play their characters, it will be theoretically possible. Whether or not
I'm
that will
not
be
going
the
to.
route you want to go will be entirely up to you guys, and it'll be dependent on how you sense that your character's in this one. So, but that it's theoretically possible that might be will actually be. The plan is, whether or not this happens, but the plan is we'll actually be using a different system for campaign 2 to kind of justify the ability to use your own your old characters. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Jody.
Cool.
So I'm going to try one last time to get under a minute a pitch for Realms of the Wild, so that anyone that asks, you can just go, look at this clip. So
All right, I'm pulling up my stopwatch.
Hold on. Yeah, me too.
I did that last time. It's on you guys this time.
Yeah.
All right.
I also did it, so all you.
I'm actually pulling up the stopwatch.
He really wants this under 60 seconds.
I want this to be a clip. I want this to be. I really want us to start clipping more things. Like I like clips. I think they're cool.
That'd be great.
More
There's
clips.
a new thing in that's in beta right now that my Twitch channel got in. I don't know if ZU got it, but called Memories. I think it's called
Moments.
There we go.
My channel has it, but I don't think ZU does.
So
I
I'd
don't
like
know if I
us
do.
to lean heavily into Moments when we eventually, if we eventually get it, because I think that's kind of a cool thing.
All right.
I don't
Ready?
know.
Everyone else
All right.
quiet?
My God, Mary.
Just because I need to do this, I will count myself down.
You told me not to. I want you to remember. You told me not to.
Yeah, when you said not to count you down, I started counting up, but it was on the last number, so it's just 1,000.
So I don't want someone else to count me down because I won't get it right. So
Okay.
Let's all look good for this clip.
Let's all shut up for this clip.
That's not a problem for me, Ilea.
All right. So Realms of the Wild explanation clip. Going for it in 5, 4. Realms of the Wild is a tabletop RPG set in our own version of the Breath of the Wild version of Hyrule. We use the Open Legend RPG system, which is a skill-based RPG, and every one of the players plays their own unique character. We don't have a Link. We don't have a Zelda or a Ganon in here. This is a story about what happens between the Great Calamity and Link awakening 100 years later. 30 seconds, folks. 33.729.
Yep.
Okay, but can we get now a Realms of the Wild?
Realms of the Wild.
Didn't you do that
There.
earlier?
Yeah, I tried to. It didn't work. There are benefits to being a base.
Yes, I'm very jealous.
I want so badly to go back to high school, because in high school
I don't.
no, I hated high school.
I would go back to junior high and
in high school
Absolutely the fuck not.
just to say in choir, all of the sopranos and the altos were always into the tenors because they're so pretty, and all the pop artists were tenors in that. After doing Twitch Sings, girls will fawn over tenors, and I saw that often on Twitch Sings. You would see someone go, "Ooh, really? Wow, that sounds really nice." But when I would come on and do something like "Sunday morning rain is falling," and I would watch women literally melt on stream going, oh.
Bass voices, when it's a good bass voice, are the
Yeah.
best.
Yep.
Ladies
Good.
will swoon for a tenor, but they will melt for a bass.
And with that, we're going to play now.
Yup.
Anyway,
Swoon for a tenor, melt for a bass.
And a new hashtag was born.
Thank you so much for tuning into our 100th episode. I am blown away that we've played 100, at least 100 games of this since we lost count at one point. But yeah, it's been amazing. I couldn't have asked for a better group. If and when this campaign does finally finish, we will have a wrap-up podcast kind of thing like this, where hopefully we'll be able to have Kiri here and we can talk about how Kess came into being and her memories of me and knowing her into joining us.
So we're going to plan that for around June, because
Well,
July and August. And
yeah.
October
Yeah.
and
I was
November
gonna
all
say-
out for Kiri.
Yeah,
We'll
June
see you in
2025.
another 100 episodes.
June 2025. Yeah.
Basically, the next time, until we can get Kiri for an episode, we will just run a bunch of one-shots. Probably Alex running various iterations of Honey Heist.
Listen, I'm
Yay!
down.
Don't
to-
tempt him. Don't tempt him.
Honey Badger!
Yeah, I will.
Honey Badger!
I'm also down to run a random Vampire the Masquerade where we all just do what we do in the shadows, but vampires.
I absolutely in Wisconsin have vampire things, so
I think if I were playing
and fake blood.
what we do in
I
the
do
Shadows
too.
character, I'd be that XL guy.
You would.
So anyway, that
I would be down to do that. Like what we do.
is
in
going to be
shadows,
all
that.
for me today. As always, if you missed any of this, all of these are on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Zelda Universe TV. Don't forget to tune in to youtube.com/Zelda Universe to see all the cool stuff that go there, or zeldauniverse.net, the website where all the announcements and everything are always there. In 2 weeks, ZUthon starts. We'll be raising money for Direct Relief. Am I right?
Yep. Directly.
Raising money for Direct Relief, which is a wonderful charity that's helped with COVID relief and things about that. I think they've existed longer than COVID, though, right? They just help with disaster.
We've
Much
been
longer,
working with them
yes.
since 2017, but they've been around for a while.
So yeah, wonderful charity. We worked with them a lot before, and there's going to be a lot of really, really cool stuff. Again, check out zeldauniverse.net when the full schedule is announced to see all the cool things. You may, during my segment, you may even hear someone familiar to everyone here kind of co-streaming with me.
Is that true? Because if that's true, you should tell me.
Well, I've already told Alex, because when I had the meeting with Peyton, I was told a bunch of things that I had no idea were things I needed to do. So I've been scrambling to try and do that. But
Like, I've already
I'll
told
say
Alex
it now,
because it's
and
Alex.
Imp, feel free to pretend it's not true or whatever. Imp has been Imp in my head in chat. Has been kind enough to be my kind of co-pilot for that stream. So we'll get to banter off each other and tell annoying jokes, and he can insult me for my lack of ability at A Link to the Past. So
Excuse me as I update a spreadsheet.
there's a lot of them. I had a conversation with Alex about that. I'm like, I understand, Excel's a great program, but there are other programs out there for planning. Maybe not everything needs to be an Excel spreadsheet.
And it's not. I actually just sent you.
You can also do more
I
than
just
one
got an onboarding
sheet.
thing.
Just label your sheets, man.
So anyway, again, that is all for me today. I will see you guys in 2 weeks for ZUthon. All right? Bye-bye.